There we go.
Hey everyone, hey chat, and welcome to another developer live stream. And as always, I'm here with Dennis.
Hey Dennis.
Hey guys.
How are you today?
I'm great. Are we prepared? Do you bring your water bottle?
Oh yeah, I actually do have my water bottle here.
Oh my god.
That's very important for this one. With that being
He's
said,
in the water
we are
bottles,
starting our holiday season. So we want to wish you all very happy holidays already. And what better to do in the holidays than play some Hunt Showdown.
Absolutely.
So we are here to talk about our next update. So why don't we just dive into it and see what's in store for us?
Let's go for it.
Yeah, so as you may have already seen on our social media, our next event is called Post Malone's Murder Circus Encore. It's going to be a really cool event, and it comes alongside with update 2.6. The event will be running from December.
I'm not sure what one that's referring to, but sorry.
So you will have about 2 months or 60 days to participate in the
11th
event.
of December, that's today, so it's going to be live in an hour and a half.
And as I mentioned, this is going to be Post Malone's Murder Circus returning.
Yeah, so it's better than ever. So we have a lot of like clowns, chaos, and carnage coming up. So what you expect, obviously, it's a Murder Circus. It's coming back. It's back in town. So there's a couple of like returning pieces to it, and we'll see like improvements to Ursa Mortis. We see the Shredder. We have a new circus attraction.
Is the audio good for the
and also the update in general comes with a lot of cool new things like the player profile customization, story challenges, and there's also obviously gameplay challenges and more to come. So
yeah, there's a lot of awesome things actually. So please stay tuned
Good, thank you.
the hosting, because we're gonna be talking about all that cool stuff. And I want to mention it already that we are going to have feature drops coming on December 12th.
Turn it up slightly if needed.
We explain it towards the end of the stream how it's gonna exactly work, because it's somewhat different than our previous feature drops campaigns. And it's a very big announcement as well. Post Malone will be streaming Hunt Showdown on December 19th evening.
Post Malone streaming on December the 19th. I probably want to watch some of that.
Keep an eye out on that one. We will have some very, very special guests on that stream, so you don't want to miss that. Mark your calendars right now and check out our social channels where we'll be announcing all the cool details for this one.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. And then obviously we're going to have some more activities coming across the event. So if you've seen from the previous events, we're going to have these kind of like in-between beats and activities. So stay tuned. There's going to be a lot more.
In-between beats and activities. That sounds fun.
We're here to talk about
be exciting to see what that is. We had some events running through the other events, like the community Battle Weaver event and
what is happening in the event.
Yeah, so I mean, it's
Plowshares and Pitchforks event, etc.
The original Murder Circus, it fell to corruption, and only Giggles survived. So this is where we are at the moment. It's like people have been kind of like going underground.
Okay, well done, hello.
First, next one there.
Yeah, and here's Giggles, of course.
Frank,
one of the favorites of all time.
And so, yeah, the Ringmaster vanished as well. So Post Malone vanished, disappeared, and he became the Disciple of Death. So he's been honing his
pretty badass
skills as a legendary hunter.
And a pretty badass hunter, let's be real as well.
For the circus to return.
And he's definitely cooler.
To get his payback.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot
Sunshine
cooler, I will say that.
Like, she was betrayed by the Fool and joined forces together with Giggles, and they're trying to build a new troop of hunters. So let's see what they're up to as well.
Yeah, and here's Sunshine, of course.
Also an amazing looking hunter.
In the event. One of the new hunters, so to say. And what is happening right now? Then we talked about what happened before the event, so what is going on?
So, like, yeah, it's been a year, and now the corrupted circus has reappeared in the incursion areas, so, in all of the different maps. It's stronger and it's changed, so obviously, like the Disciple of Death and the Sharpshooter, which is a new character we're having, they're like teaming up now and they're looking for ways to kind of end this whole thing now.
Yeah, and as you mentioned already, Sunshine and Giggles forming a troop and recruiting all kinds of hunters.
And finish the fight,
see what they can do, yeah. We also have the Strongman.
Yeah, so the Strongman is a new character as well. So he's like together with the Sharpshooter, Grace Kim and Bradley is the name of a Strongman. Like they are joining a conflict on different groups.
Strongman is really cool.
See how they can influence it, but
I like the Sharpshooter too. But I think Strongman for me is one of the cooler ones of this update.
And the trades as well.
Yeah, and then of course we do have Krampus.
Yeah, like he's like the kind of the stowaway parasite, like causing mischief in the background. So
stowaway parasite
be, playing an important role when we talk about the story.
Interesting. We're putting it. Look at this guy.
Here is our Strongman.
Yeah, so very cool. Very cool. Fits
very much. 13
I love him.
We already seen a lot of positive feedback about this character in some.
I think everybody likes this character.
And just to recap some of the key figures coming this event.
What I like about is, especially when
my
you take
favorites
a look at
is the Disciple of Death, Sunshine, and the Strongman.
It's a darker look. It's grittier.
Don't know about you guys, but
and it's something that if you take a look,
the other
at
two are
some
cool
of
as well.
other
But honestly, the other three are just freaking S tier.
Stuff feels a bit grittier, feels a bit less colorful, a bit more grounded, I would say. So
Battle Pass Hunters being legendary means it can return later. If it's not mythic, it can technically return later. Yes.
Cast in this event, and it's gonna be very fun to see them around in the.
I haven't checked if they say mythic or legendary personally, so. But if it says legendary, not mythic, it's
exactly
everywhere possible.
But now we talked about the lore, so why don't we talk about how the progression and the rewards will work in this event?
Yeah, so something that we talked about in the last event was that we changed the strategy a little bit, right? So the pledge marks, they remain in the game.
Loving that change, by the way. I've been wanting that for ages. I've been saying that for so long now. Get rid of Vanilla Hunt. Just make this the default. There's no reason to roll back to a less developed version of the game every time an event ends.
So nothing goes away.
Looks like they finally saw that, and now we're keeping them. So that's pretty awesome.
Pieces around it, and that's an interesting thing because it gives you a bit of a head start already. So if you're in the last days of the event, you just want to save some pledge marks here and there, it's a good opportunity to give you a head start right away on Hunters.
And of course, we do have the reworked Central Circus compound, which we are going to be talking about in more details as well.
Yeah, so
we'll get into that in a bit, John, but I agree with you.
Right? It's a corrupted circus. So obviously, it's like the first time we see the circus on Disal. And in addition to that, we've kind of changed a bit on the layouts. All the cool things are in there. Like we mentioned, the Shredder returning, Ursa Mortis obviously guarding it. So lots of central pieces there to explore and engage with.
Yeah, and of course we have a brand new Battle Pass, this time with over 50 rewards.
Battle Pass is looking pretty good this time.
Why don't we just take a look at some of those?
Have a look at some of these things.
What we have. So first, we have some of the Hunters. So the
Strongman we've seen already, he's one of them. Really cool. Again, the context will be clear when we talk about the troops. We have the Disciple of Death. This is basically what the Ringmaster became now after events.
Become cooler.
First Murder Circus. And then
she is pretty cool though,
quite interesting. When we take a look at the troops,
take some time to study the Hunter. It's actually a very well-made Hunter.
So these are the main Hunters in the Battle Pass, but we of course have a lot of weapons as well. First of all, we have
new
the
blue
Elephant's
skins.
Promise, which is a Frontier 73 skin family.
Yeah, they're really cool. I really like the little carvings there, like the pronounced elephant shape. And honestly, I think we didn't have enough blue guns in the game.
There is actually an elephant on there. I didn't realize that.
Very well, for example, one of the katana skins.
Do you want to know a fun fact, Dennis?
Go for it.
The elephant is my favorite animal, so
perfect.
There's a lot of cool skins for me in this.
I guess I know what you will be picking then.
Yeah, for sure. And then we have a throwing axe, which is called the Horseman's Hand.
That's also really, really cool. I like it.
Yeah, then we have Leona's Verdict. It's a railroad hammer. You may have seen it on our Strongman already.
Yeah, Strongman's been carrying it, kind of fitting as well.
Then we have another family of skins called Burnt Blood for the Packs.
Pretty cool pack skin.
Regular as well, and on the True Shot, etc. So it's really
also
cool.
with the horse on there.
We also have many skins for the Drilling family, and they are called Celestial Scream.
Yeah, really good stuff.
What is this symbol actually on these?
Me too. It's really beautiful.
What is that a reference to?
Then we have Archangel for the Springfield family.
Yeah, so this is something you might recognize because the marksman version has been something we've released a long time ago. So we're kind of completing the variants here, adding more of them as well. So more Archangels.
And VO as well.
Sounds great. We do have an explosive one, a frag bomb with the snake motif coming, Mortal Coil.
Yeah, there's a couple of really cool snake motifs.
Really nice.
In some of the next ones as well we're going to see, and it ties in nicely to for example, the Crack Silencer we had in the first Murder Circus. So good stuff there.
Yeah, now you can make whole snake loadouts.
Get the proper set.
Yeah, exactly. Then we have a duster called.
These look pretty cool. I don't really use the dusters very often, but these look pretty awesome actually.
Always do with our white dusters. Then we have
it's a shame I never use them.
Family of skins. Out the Ember, so it's a bit charcoal.
I like this one a lot because it really feels fitting very well if you have one of those more what we used to call it the tier 3 hunters, the more gritty, darker uniformed ones. So I think that's really nice.
Really awesome. And we have the 65 carbine silencer skin called Sinister Salvation.
Also pretty cool skin, but I don't really play this weapon very often either.
The frag bomb we saw earlier.
It's alright though.
We also have something healing. The
this
Devil's
one's pretty badass.
First aid kit.
Yeah, really cool.
Yep. And we have a Scottfield, Diamondback Darling as well.
I like that they didn't overdo it with like the PM
the
skins this time.
Skin, themed ones.
I don't think I've seen any like PM spammy skins at all, actually.
Definitely. And we do have a flare pistol, which is
this
very
one
special
is
as
probably
well.
my favorite overall. This is so freaking cool.
I mean,
this looks
so cool.
amazing.
I've been using this like a little bit,
really great.
Some playtests, etc. This is really, really nice. I love this gun.
And I just want to mention
everyone's going to be maining this flare pistol.
Some animations in the update, like weapon animation, plus
like the details on the handle and
like
the rattlesnake.
Yeah, I think you might have seen a few of those, for example.
So much
gameplay,
intricate details on this.
So,
I
really good.
People love it. Then we have a level skin called Shot
also
in the Dark.
Fantastic skin. I love when I've said this so many times, I love when they put the bullets on the weapons. It just gives it this really badass look every single time.
Which is a
it's amazing.
Trap.
Yeah, this one is so gruesome. You just saw it again. Like
White Block, thank you for the follow.
In the cinematic video we showed in the beginning, where Disciple of Death is kind of like using it to behead one of the other hunters. I really like this one. It looks a bit more shiny here in this shot than it is actually in the world. Like it has a bit more green unit, etc. So I think it's a nice good balance. Like it's not too easy to see.
It's a pretty cool bear trap, yeah.
Spot, so it works really
a little bit shiny, but they said it's not going to be as shiny in the game. Like it looks shinier here than actually is.
In the update.
Yeah, this is what my teammates always say as well.
And last but not least,
but like this one, look at this, like the bullets on the stock. It's,
this one is really cool because
looks
it kind of fits
amazing.
Into, like, more gilded.
Love this.
The same we had around the Statesman in the past.
Absolutely love this skin.
Yeah, I think like who doesn't like golden guns, right?
More of this, please.
Always, they are the best. And of course, as always, we have a bunch of charms. We also have the +1 charm at the very end of the event with the free progression.
Event should start about like an hour and a half or so.
Manage to spot all of them.
Yeah, let's see if you can find them all on that.
Yeah, there's quite a lot there. So again, I just wanted to highlight that there's more stuff in the Battle Pass too, like blood bonds and other things you may have
more than 50 things.
We also may
have
of
rewards
something
this time
to do with our player profile customization.
That's going to be a big one in a moment, yeah.
So yeah, this is the highlight of Battle Pass. I hope you enjoyed it. But
I don't like overly shiny
skins
so let's
in
general.
Talk about one of our new features.
Like that old hunting bow, for example, they added
story challenges.
Yeah,
last time, like the super shiny golden bow.
For us to kind of like bring you additional really cool ways to experience Hunt's lore. Right, like in the past, like you guys been asking, like, oh, what happened to lore? We want to have more of the lore again. This is one way for us to kind of like tell
more
little
lore,
stories,
please.
Tell, like little episodes.
Never been too much of a lore guy myself, but I don't mind it either.
Specific pieces that are important.
Random thing for follow.
Gives you like a new way of experience, just in an interesting way. It's based around like challenges. So I mean, you know the weekly challenges and like what you need to do, etc. However, these story challenges they're a bit more thematically fitting to whatever like the story is all about. So besides the chapters that you have, which the story challenges are divided into, you have then different tasks to complete, and then there's also obviously cool rewards at the end of those chapters that you can then unlock that way.
I'm loving the idea of this. This is like they took the quest lines we had back in the day, combined them with weekly challenges, and made something new that is even better.
Go there, which ones
it's actually really good.
And it's a system that we want to build up upon. Like, so there's going to be a few which we'll talk about in a moment that we will launch with, and there's more down the line for you guys to experience.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk about what we have in this update for the story challenges. So first we have On the Winds of Midwinter.
Yeah, this is like
the bleak
premium
Midwinter
time-limited story challenge. It's something which is very much fitting to the season.
Servers are still estimated to be down for like an hour and a half longer.
A chilling tale where Krampus draws near. Today. If you hear the bells, it is already too late.
Yeah.
So interesting story around a Krampus character and the key rewards obviously.
Krampus. A lot of people were asking for Krampus or like a Christmas themed hunter. So
the hoof
it's pretty cool.
horn. And
it looks pretty good as well. We saw him earlier this
glamorous carol
this
that you can each of those are being part of a chapter, and basically like once you then get the premium time-limited story challenge, you can then complete it in your own leisure.
I really love how you read that out, so I think I'm gonna get this as a soundbite and just listen to it over the winter period.
And then obviously alongside that one, we also have player profile items, hunt dollars, XP.
That's correct. The game is down for update right now.
So there's like tons more of rewards that you can also get just for the minimal, like the micro steps within each of the chapters. But at the end of the chapters, that's when like the cosmetic rewards are waiting for you.
But we have an acquired taste, which is our free and permanent.
So there's one free and there's one
something which is super interesting
premium
for us. So we
story
go
challenge.
Both extremes.
One for Bloodbounds, one is totally free for everyone.
Free one in there because you want to see how you guys in general engage with this, like what you like, what you don't like about them. So this is also a bit of an experimentation for us to kind of see how you like this new feature and how we kind of shape it in the future. This one is about a hunter, Tennessee Morgan. I love that name. He's like attempting to stop a robbery, and it reveals a bit of a far darker piece alongside. So I'm not going to spoil anything because that's the part of why you want to play this. So the key rewards here again is Tennessee Morgan, and there's like 3 versions of them. So this is one way for us to kind of bring back.
This is like
again more
progression hunter combined with the quest line combined with the weekly challenge. Basically, is what it is.
And we've brought a few of them back already. For example, like to unlock them by completing the first version, the rookie version, to be on level 50, to then unlock the survivor, etc. Now this is a new way for us to bring some more back. In this case,
we get a voice-acted audio log, not that I know of.
So you can unlock all 3 versions of Tennessee Morgan that way. And obviously, again, there's also player profile pieces, etc. around it.
I haven't had a chance to look at this too much in detail, but you can see some of it in my event update video, like Smashback event.
And
you can see some of the rewards and how it works in there. Meta thing to follow.
And of course, on screen, meanwhile, we can see the 2 hunters.
We'll take a better look once the update goes live.
Really cool. And we prepared a video just to give you an overview how the story challenges exactly works and how.
We'll get more into that when we get to it, Wally. That will be covered later in this dev stream. And we'll talk more about Blademancer and my thoughts around that.
So you can see here, it's like you access this whole thing through the weekly challenges.
Weekly challenges, story challenges.
You can kind of.
So here you see you have the free one on the left and you have the paid one on the right. Some people have been pointing out that they think it's a little bit steep of a price. I do kind of agree with that. $17.50 is quite a bit, but you are paying for new content and an optional cosmetic, so I would look at it as buying a DLC with extra steps to be to see it that way. So depends on how you look at it. This price could probably be a bit lower, especially because this is a new concept. But I'm also assuming this takes a bit of time and effort to make. So who knows? Who knows? It is definitely a bit steep, though. I will say that.
So you have the story challenges, its own little tab there. As you can see here, that you have the free one with an acquired taste, and then you have the other one there as a separate one. So
here we go.
Really cool.
3 different chapters. You unlock some lore for each level. There's some different rewards tied to each level
later. But as you can see, like you can go through the different rewards there. See the different chapters.
Yeah, so you have the hunt dollars, a couple of packs, true shots, some shots, and the first version of a hunter here on level 1.
Etc. So it has its own little menu structure, and the rewards are laid out there for you. Again, some of them just being hunt dollars, instances of stuff, and then like the cosmetic.
And you can see here also on the right, like deal damage to hunters using any variant of packs. You need to do 2,000, you get 500 hunt dollars. Kill monsters with packs, you get 2 packs for 10 kills. Visit compounds, use shots on yourself or teammates. This is all the same kind of stuff we've seen in weekly challenges, basically.
It's kind of mixed in between.
So it's like combining that with a quest line
because you can play the game, of course, but also immerse yourself in the story and unlock something progressive.
And then once you finish level 1, you get the lore
track of both
with the second level and third level and so forth. So you kind of have to progress to actually get more lore,
something that like
more of the story.
Also, as we talk about some other pieces
Pretty
later,
cool way to do it, I think.
Improved.
Oh, you can see it here.
Yeah, you can actually see it here. Let's talk about it right now. So even here, like on our map screen, which we had reworked, we're going to talk a bit more about that one in a moment. You can also talk about
new map screen,
like, the story challenges and your weekly challenges, etc. Just keep an overview about what currently is active and what you're chasing.
Yeah, so that is the new story challenges. We are excited to hear your feedback about this as well. Please let us know how you feel about it and what Dennis said. We are
that's basically what it is, Arashi. It's like a DLC with some extra rewards as well on top.
We have a lot more coming in Murder Circus. Something that's stronger and faster. And
Stannis and Stuka, thank you for following
Ursa Mortis returning.
All right, so yeah, Ursa Mortis, for those of you who might not remember, is the 2-headed corrupted circus act. So this is like a 2-headed bear monstrosity that it's been guarding the Murder Circus and continues guarding the Murder Circus. And kind of did some changes to it, iterated a little bit on it. And one of the things, obviously, is like just make it a bit more aggressive and mobile. It's a bit tougher. It does a bit more damage. You guys have come up with all the different patterns how to easily kill it the last time. So we're gonna like throw a bit of a wrench in there and kind of mix the rule set up a little bit, so for you to figure out how to defeat it this time in the best way. There's a hint: maybe bear traps isn't the best way anymore. And one of the big cool improvements is that it can actually break through circus fences now.
I love this. I love this so much. I love it a lot.
If you approach the Murder Circus and you make a lot of noise, you might
see a little example later in a bit, but
barging through the outer tent wall.
Ursa can now make new entrances to the circus.
This is the really interesting part.
And speaking of which, actually, that is one of the main issues that I had with the circus in the first iteration of this event, is the fact that the circus is so kind of concealed and hard to push. But now, because of the Ursa being able to kind of breach through the walls in various locations, you can kind of like rip through the cloth and make new entry points. That kind of gets completely fixed. So, I mean, if you're the first team to get there and you want to open more entrances, you can actually like bait her into pushing and opening up the circus in the way that you wanted to. Or you could avoid it entirely, depending. It's really cool. And it's also opening up some interesting new possibilities for the gameplay, because if they're already working with like breachable walls, that means that we could see similar stuff in the future. What about like suddenly meatheads can, you know, break the concrete walls at Healing Church if if they start swinging, or like there's a lot of possibility here. That's all I'm saying. They haven't really said anything about any of that happening, but I'm hoping that we'll see them working more with that in the future, more of like an interactive map feature or whatever.
Because depending on what your plan is at the Murder Circus afterwards, like you might have these additional paths open. So you want to make sure that the way you defeat Ursa Mortis is in line with what you want. Like, do you want fewer ways in? Then you maybe kill her, kill him before they actually barge through the walls. But if you don't care, or if you actually like the dynamics around it, then well, maybe just provoke to make even more chaos there and destroy more walls. So it's really up to you. But it's a nice little dynamic element we're adding. Also, it cannot be knocked over by explosives anymore. So
yeah, like blasting new entrances with dynamites or explosives, sticky bombs, whatever have you, you know.
Mortis, like
lots of opportunity there.
So we didn't want to make it too easy for
more
you
of like physics-based
like stun lock
parts of the map,
and then finish it off. So a bit more interaction.
25% more health and tougher weak
I
spots.
mentioned before, like it's a bit tougher as well.
Cannot be knocked down by explosives. Can break through the circus fences.
Interesting twist, and you'll see that in the video.
Roar attacks trigger nearby traps.
The roar attack can also trigger nearby traps.
Quite a bit of a buff.
Speaking of
Ursa.
the traps and the circus location, I mean, you guys might remember that the circus was quite a bit of a minefield, right? Like there were lots of traps around. It was very easy to even place bear traps under the rock at the center ring,
as we all found out the hard way.
It led to quite a bit of frustration because you kind of really had to be tiptoeing through that one to not like accidentally run into like a triple stack of bear traps. So we have reworked these locations so you can't place them as easily anymore.
Carpet,
they're more obvious.
A certain location on the floor.
Find nice ways, and even if they're playing in the open, my teammates would still run into them all the time. However, now that Ursa also can trigger these traps, you want to be extra careful with trap placements around this area, because
Ursa's become a minesweeper,
barrel, and then Ursa warring might have some consequences on your health.
Yeah, it can lead to some big accidents. So why don't we actually take a look at it? See what could happen when Ursa is there.
As you can see here, like the fight was barging through the walls already. Now you're trying to take some refuge, move out. So in this case here, like, yep, there goes that combo.
Yeah.
Or this one
here.
here.
Trap. Oh.
Yeah, bam.
To be fair, I don't know who rushes in and traps the explosive barrels while Ursa's still there, but if you're one of those people, then now you might want to think about it.
It's a lot more dynamic. I really enjoy it. It's basically an idea we've been even kicking around for the first Murder Circus. Unfortunately, we couldn't really get to it back then, but something we're really, really happy that we could revisit and kind of bring it into the Encore.
I cannot wait all the clips happening on Twitch and on YouTube with all the funny things that happen to players. But Ursa is not the only thing that is seeing a rework in this update.
Yeah, so I mean, we have a couple of other things coming back. For example, the Shredder. And I know, like, we somewhat dropped the ball on the Shredder in the first event, right? At first, it was a bit too powerful, then it was too costly. It took quite some time.
A bit too powerful is a bit of an understatement.
We kind of went into the last event with this trying to be like a really cool signature key element, but like finding the balance in a game which requires this like delicate balancing as like Showdown does. It was a hard time. So the good thing is now we had a bit more time. We could spend more time on the Shredder and kind of reinvented it a little bit, revisited it, and made it like the best Shredder it can be. So it is still,
I think
by definition, the Salt
really
Lake launcher,
well in that
and you can only find it in the circus compounds. However, we looked at the bounce mechanic, and in the first version we had
the Shredder plays really well right
on
now.
the blades, and it was kind of like
some of you might have seen the early access stream that we did yesterday.
Easier for you to kill.
You can also see it in action in my new update video. !event in chat.
But it creates also a lot of frustration, and so
it's been rebalanced and feels
that's all cool.
Like it's in a good place right now.
Do the math yourself.
Marcus, thank you for
bounce. So it requires more skill. It doesn't become like an easy home thing anymore.
No more heat-seeking blades.
The blades, and it's more of a quality of life adjustment. Like the blades no longer pierce directly through hunters.
No piercing anymore.
While it was super visceral, super cool to watch, the problem was afterwards the blades were usually gone anyways for you, right? So by making them behave a little bit more like other blades, like as they dismember like that grunt or strike down that player, at least they get stuck in the flash now. I
will say I really loved that the blades would go through multiple targets. It was one of the coolest things about the Shredder overall. But I also will say that after having played the new Shredder, now that the blades are sticking to targets, it is more convenient. It's easier to regain your blades when you need them. But it's also really freaking cool when you shoot someone in the head and you run over and there's a saw blade stuck in their skull. Like it's a very cool, like you said, like a very like visual cool feature. So I guess pros and cons. I kind of liked the fact that they would go through targets. Maybe something they could even consider like adding as a trait or something. I don't know, very specific. But if it was up to me, I'd probably still keep it the way it was in that regard. But I'm still happy with the way it is now. It's fine.
That means it's much easier to retrieve them on the way. So if you just move around the world and just want to kill that armored along the way, you don't have to worry about finding that blade like 20 meters away in a tree somewhere. So obviously, as we know, there might be traits that can help with that. Talk about that later.
Yeah, maybe a different ammo type.
In general, it
would be
cool.
The
whole thing a bit
Not
more,
the explosive blades this time, but like an ammo type that would go through targets would be a cool thing for sure.
Feels just a lot nicer and elegant.
Yeah, and
the event is scheduled to go live about an hour.
So this was one of the points of feedback we had, that the weapon felt a bit too spammy in general, right?
Very spammy. It was incredibly spammy.
What we do now is that we kind of require you to
it was unhinged.
Like to pull the lever to charge it back after each shot, and that obviously significantly lowers the rate of fire. It's still faster than a crossbow, faster than a bow and arrow, etc. Like so for weapons in the similar class, like the mechanical primitive class. However, it's much lower than what we had before. Now the interesting part is that also these blades they start spinning down. So as you charge, you have like 30 seconds of a full spin, and then as it nears the end of that one, you see some sparks on it. It's wobbly. The audio becomes inconsistent. Like the whole thing kind of loses its momentum.
Loving the spin down feature. It's a very cool feature, and it is also a very important balancing feature too.
You will not be able to fire it until you have spun it up again. So
Hey,
interesting also is that the blades actually continue spinning on the back. So if you select a different weapon or if you do melee attack or so, we keep track of this now. So it's like a new technology.
It spins for about 30 seconds from what I understand.
We can keep a track of stats.
And then slowly stop spinning, and then you have to recharge it. You can keep recharging it as much as you want, but it's pretty loud.
Basically, yeah, you get like these little like follow-up shots. So it's kind of like the same thing I just mentioned. And that's the big thing, no frag blades. So we basically limit this thing exactly to its core role. This is the saw blade launcher, and it should be saw blades.
I had a patch update like half an hour ago, but the event's still going to be offline for a while.
So cutting back also on the spam from that angle, like you want this thing to matter. And this is lethal still. The blades, they cut through stuff right easily. So if you get hit in like the lower torso, upper torso area as a hunter, like within, I think, 35 meters or so, that thing will eviscerate you. Like you could definitely go down with that. So really cool, very powerful, but you have to be a bit more careful how you use it.
Don't think the frag arrows are that strong. Would like to see them put back from scarce. They were incredibly OP.
Changes to the Shredder. So
maybe it would be fine as scarce, but honestly, I don't see them having a place in the game. They were very disgusting, and most people felt that way.
Up or press the X button to do it manually.
As you can see, physics-based, we only have the normal blades now, so that is exactly the kind of balance change that we wanted for this, really.
Load it up. And if you were to, for example, like put it on the back, etc., it still counts down the 30 seconds until it stops spinning, so giving you enough time. Like this makes the whole weapon less.
As you can see there, like the blades are sticking into the character, which is pretty cool.
Not so much from the sound of the spinning blades. That's actually not heard that far out, but you cranking that lever, that's what actually gives away your position, and you will have to do it at one point if you want to be ready to fire at any moment.
You can actually hear the cranking, like the actual cranking of the Shredder is so much louder than the Shredder itself now. So back in the old version, we used to have the Shredder being very loud. You could hear it spinning and like going off, you know, someone was pushing with it. You'd hear him from so far away. Now you can't actually hear the Shredder itself from very far, but you can hear the crank very far. So like you got to think about when you pull that crank and when do you like recharge the blade. You take like a second to and hope that it's got enough spin in it that you can still fire in a few seconds, or do you crank it to make sure? So it will kind of keep spinning for about 30 seconds until it fully stops. So you got to keep maintaining that if you want to fire. And that can really catch you off guard if you're not paying attention, as we saw on the early access stream yesterday as well. Like I'm having some moments where I'm like forgetting to pull the crank, and then suddenly I can't fire the weapon when I need to.
Interesting to see how he will use this. Obviously, this is going to be a much more of an assault crossbow type of gameplay. You want to be up front and not so much sitting in bushes, just because the sound is a counterpart to it.
And now that we talked about both Ursa and the Shredder that you can find in the new event location, the circus, let's see what we changed this time around with the circus compound.
So yeah, the circus is still basically what it was in the last event. It's a roaming circus compound. So there's different locations where it can appear, and it's going to pick one of those randomly every time you go into the.
And we're getting it on the Sal this time because the Sal was not in the game last time we had this event. So that's going to be a little bit of a fresh experience.
All the cool things are centered around that
location. About an hour big.
So this is like packed with sealed rewards. You find the Shredder there exclusively. You have the tarot cards also there. So this is your way of getting
tarot cards are carrying over, as I also covered in my event update video.
What changes is like how you can get stuff. So
you can find 3 of them in the circus guaranteed.
Even the Shredder is going to stay in the game. So you
similar
might
to how it was in the Battle Weaver's Nest.
Because you don't know when you might be able to getting new ones, obviously. There will be more Shredders in the future as well. However,
no, I have not.
That's an interesting part for us to play with, like when it comes to scarce weapons, when it comes to like event traits, the tarot cards, etc. Is like that. The sources might change, and in this case, the circus is the location to source all of that one. So yeah, go visit it. And then we also obviously have like the guardians of the circus. We've talked about Ursa Mortis, which is like the gatekeeper. You can sneak around the circus, not alerting Ursa if you're careful, but it is tough. So for the most part, you need to be ready for a fight. But we also have obviously a couple of our circus grunts back. They're giggling and laughing around.
There are some reasons to push quickly into the circus because you'll get the 3-tower card spawning there. You'll also be able to pop the balloons that are there and hit the high striker, you know.
So so one of the
and then Shredder being in there as well for the 2 pledge marks.
We have the fortune teller machine. We have
there's quite a bit of an advantage to being there early.
For event points. We even have like a couple of new ones in there where you can kind of, you know, like I don't know what the English name is, like the little boards with a drawing of a person. You can replace the face if you stand behind it.
Unrelated, but for the supporter streamer thing, it can be 2 different streamers, Raspy, or the same one, depending which you prefer.
This is all just for fun, so you can explore the place. But we have one.
Mind you,
really
that is only when the Twitch drops start tomorrow,
which is the high striker. I'm going to talk about it in a moment.
Yeah, but now why don't we take a look at the circus itself, because we prepared a very nice video for it too.
Until the 24th.
As you can see it here, the circus looming on the distance. So yeah, for those of you who've been there last year, you recognize, you remember the place. However, the place has changed a little bit. We still have an outer circle ring with the tent walls, and then we have the inner central tent, and all the attractions ring-wise are located around it. But we've kind of done some adjustments to some of the layout pieces. For example, you now look at the dock kennel, right? It's actually inside the compound now, right next to the tent, no longer on the outside. So we kind of mix things up a little bit here. You can see like the arrangement of some of the booths is different, and you will notice, for example, when it comes to the event trades and the troops, etc., that things have changed. But again, we talk about it in a second, a bit more in detail.
And of course, the circle.
Check this here real quick. It's actually only 1080p. I was wondering if it was a little bit low.
Because it's the first time on the SAL as well.
That's fine though.
Yeah, so
it's not bad.
Very curious to hear guys' feedback on the locations picked where you can find it this time around. So, and here you can already see a little bit of the high striker machine. So it's like a test of strength booth. And we break down the mechanics in a moment.
The circus is looking super cool as always, and there's Ursa.
Yeah, so
yeah, it is looking pretty awesome.
Still corrupted and kind of changed. So yeah, even for the veterans, there's going to be some new stuff to explore.
Yeah, and since we talked about the central location of the circus, why don't we dive into the traits and troops?
Traits and troops.
Actually find those.
So this is something that we've kind of spent a lot of thinking about. Like, so we over the year moved a little bit away from our previous event structure of pacts and troops, like the exclusive picks, and we took a bit of a break from that. And our approach for the Murder Circus this time around is still continuing with that one. So we've changed and kind of rethought about what the troops mean, and what we've come up with is that we wanted to add 2 additional troops, not take any of them away. So we just adding more variety, but we don't want to make the players choose so much between them.
We'll get to that in a bit, Matt, but yes, Ice Tracker applies to the entire team.
Which means you use your pledge marks to get to the trait of the troop, but you can combine them at will.
You can combine and get all the different troop traits this time, which is different from in the past.
I can all reveal, because we talk about it in a second. Then you can just purchase that for pledge marks directly there. Also, all of these are themed. So the traits and the troops still they make thematic connection. They still make sense. We talked about, for example, the Sharpshooter. We talked about the Strongman. And so there's going to be a couple of new troops themed around.
Maybe this is just me, but I don't kind of quite understand why it needs to be called troops anymore. I kind of feel like they could just like add the traits and not have any troop names to them. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't really quite see the relevance. I guess it does make sense, and like they said, thematically it makes sense, but maybe it's more for future reference to kind of keep things consistent. I don't know.
That
it's fine though.
The interesting part is also that we have all of them at a central location now. So where before,
thematically speaking, it makes a lot of sense, but otherwise, I don't feel like it has like a practical relevance.
Had maybe the Ringmaster, like in the center, for example, or you had the Mystique one where you can get like the Fortune Teller machine, and where you get like the Dark Side boost envelopes. This has changed now. All of them are at the center now, all 5 of them, and they're exclusively found at the center. So you no longer find them also at supply points. So
this is what I mean, right? So acquire Strongman troop trait, Bruiser. This for me would make more sense if it was just like acquire Bruiser, like Bruiser 1 pledge mark, Blademancer 2 pledge marks, etc. I don't really see why we need the troop names on them. I don't think that it has actually like any impact on anything, especially now that you can get them all. Because in the past you had to pledge to a troop, and then you could get the traits that were belonging to that troop, and there would be like 2 or 3 different traits, right? But in this case, I think, if I'm not mistaken, all of the troops are different, and they all just have 1 trait, so it's just like a theme thing, I guess.
One more reason to go to the circus.
One of them has 2 traits, does it? I don't know if it does. I don't think so.
And obviously, it's a choice for
but maybe,
you.
maybe.
Like, how many of them do you want?
If that's the case, that
combination?
probably makes sense, I guess.
We'll talk about which they are in a second.
But even still, it would probably
so of course
be
on the screen
easier to just call it what it is.
You're talking about. But yeah, let's see what the actual troops and traits are, starting with the Ringmaster troop.
So the Ringmaster is coming back, and also Corpse Seer is coming back. We've been kind of using that trait a little bit, so starting low
back.
here now.
2 pledge marks.
But Corpse Seer is a really powerful trait. It gives you like a dark side boost second when you...
Honestly, like with the last update, Corpse Seer was probably the thing I played the least. It's like on paper a very powerful trait, but I honestly never picked it up just because it wasn't really worth it over the other options. So it'll be interesting to see how much people play it. I guess it's really nice if you prefer to get more dark side boost.
Loot the downed hunters, so it's a cool
by
way
all means
for you
a powerful trait
in a fight, for example, being able to just like quickly loot the first guy you're down and understand maybe where the others are positioned, or in general like give you like something for the next fight. We also have as a second one the knife thrower. So this one is a returning trait, Blademancer.
Blademancer, I'm very excited for.
You will
obviously as a bow main, this is amazing. Also, little thing that is worth noting is that you can use Blademancer with the Shredder. The Shredder blades are retrievable, same as like bolts and arrows and throwing knives and everything else. So Blademancer does work on it. And because the Shredder only has 12 blades and they can often fly pretty far out depending, Blademancer is incredibly powerful to run with the Shredder. So make sure to pick that up if you're in the circus and you're picking up the Shredder for 2 pledge marks, make sure you get Blademancer for 2 as well, so you can synchronize that. Has a 100-meter range, by the way, so it's pretty powerful.
Blademancer has gone through a couple of iterations already. We've kind of reused it a little bit already in one of the events early in the year. And,
you can still pick up your blades from hunters or from the ground, but sometimes they will fly pretty far out and you might not find them.
The last Murder Circus, which is you could
no damage on Blademancer though.
Those blades and then do damage, and it was a good way for you to finish off hunters. Like it's more of the quality of life changes that the latest iteration of it had. So it's great for retrieving ammunition. It's
100 meters range on this.
It makes it a pleasure to use like the bow and arrow.
So it works really well with crossbow, yes.
Because the moment you miss it a little bit, you can easily retrieve your stuff unless you really throw down a cliff. So very good quality of life one, and we're all happy that it's back.
Then we have the Trickshooter.
Question about the corpse here. Do you still have the lightning in dark side? No, you don't. That is only if you're carrying a bounty token. So any source of dark side boost that does not come from having a bounty token will not reveal your position on the map. So that goes for like the like if you're gambling on the fortune teller machine and you happen to get some dark side there. If you take the dark side poster, or if you get any seconds from corpse here, you will not show up on the map for other players. But keep in mind, you do create a dark side boost dot on the map anytime you gain dark side as of a update a little while ago. So that means that there will be an orange dot. Whenever someone gets any source of dark side, that will be marked on the map. So just keep that in mind. People can still see that you got dark side if you're, let's say, in the circus and there suddenly is a mark on the map. If they're paying attention, they can go like, well, there was nothing there like 2 seconds ago and now that suddenly showed up. So there's someone at the circus. So keep in mind, if you are getting dark side, you might want to either be on your guard or move to a different location.
They're a troop with crack shot trait.
Yeah, so the Trickshooter is a returning
here and
one.
610 pick the false
guys. Returning trait, but the trait is different. So we
new and reworked crack shot, working very differently from before.
And this time around, what we tried out is we want to give iron-sight weapons a bit of an advantage.
There is no pull-out damage with Blademancer anymore.
If you want to use them a bit more at range,
only retrieving.
Or if you're struggling in general to land your shots,
only
like
retrieving your.
Then this is actually a good quality of life change because if you choose it, you will not only get a reduced sway when you look down ADS. You also have a slightly increased zoom. I think it's around like 20-ish% or so that your zoom is boosted. However, there's obviously a drawback to it as well. So you might want to be
This could be really powerful. I suspect this trade will be very OP.
Disadvantage. So maybe it comes down to how
increase zoom with iron sights and reduce sway.
For those interested in it,
it's going to make iron sights incredibly powerful.
Rifles as well as pistols with a.
And when you consider that the Mosin Nagant is the most meta rifle in the game right now, the iron sight Mosin is probably going to be unhinged with a straight, making it even easier to land shots on range with the weapon that is already considered the most powerful in the game. So we'll see how that plays out. It's going to probably be very, very powerful, I feel like.
Stock. So it might also be a great option, for example, if you run a shotgun main and then you might have that pistol stock weapon with just a bit more zoom on it, a bit more reliable to use over this.
Bit more reliable, most
of course have the
Spitzer.
brand new troops and traits as well.
Yeah,
the Strongman.
The Strongman. Obviously, you can.
This one is also very cool. Strongman Bruiser. I'm actually very excited for this. Reduces melee stamina usage is fine, but the real value from this trait is actually the heavy aim punch resistance. From my testing, this basically removes all aim punch. It's actually insane. Like, it's so freaking good. You can keep getting punched by zombies and you're still aiming perfectly accurately. So this is going to be incredibly powerful. Combining this with the crack shot, when you're having like increased zoom, less sway, and you don't get aim punched, you're gonna be landing shots like crazy.
Play that with any hunter, but like we strongly recommend using the Strongman for that. And Strongman comes with a trait called Bruiser.
Stamina usage is also very nice if you're a melee user.
For anyone who's running a melee a lot, and we're trying to convey like the strength,
like
and the
relatively
of the
significant to reduce stamina usage.
We have Berserker as a strength adding trait, so we didn't feel that was the right angle to do the same thing.
Well, let's be real, most of us are juiced up on stam shots.
Melee stamina, so you can usually get like, I think it's like 25-ish or 20-ish% as well.
I haven't specifically checked if it aim punch, if it reduces the aim punch from shots the same way, but I assume so.
Depending on their regular consumption, something you
assume that's the same.
Like figure out for yourself, of course. You might get that extra strike and just makes the whole thing a bit more easier to use. And in addition to that, that's why it's interesting, not only for those of you who prefer close quarter combat, you also have a heavy aim punch resistance. So, I mean, all of you guys can probably talk about stories where like you got aim punch and you threw the dynamite against the wall, or you burned yourself in the concertina bomb, or whatever else happened, and it's fine, happened to all of us. Or like in that long range fight, like you get aim punched.
Also, can we talk about how freaking amazing the artwork is? And a little shameless plug here, while we have a perfect opportunity, guys, we have actually launched a brand new merch collection. The artists who are making all of these traits and everything else that you've seen, the tarot card designs, the traits in the game, and a lot more in Hunt Showdown, Inakus is actually the artist that made the design for my new merch collection. So check out that on the merch store. There's also a link at the top of the chat here. You can find the panel at the stream, or you can find it on my website, rexner.tv. So check it out. It's a pretty freaking amazing new merch collection, and check out this new t-shirt. Pretty freaking fantastic, guys. It is pretty awesome. I'm very, very honored to be have been able to work with Ina. She's freaking fantastic and absolutely incredibly talented. So hopefully you guys like the new merch, and without further ado, let's get on with it.
Last second, you missed that shot. So you're a bit more resistant to that. There's obviously going to be some motion in there, but you'll have a much easier time keeping your aim under control when you get hit. So the Strongman has a kind of multiple benefits, the melee benefit and that one as well.
And last but not least, we have the Mystic Troupe, which is also brand new with the Communion.
Yeah, the Mystic Troupe is a returning
Loving
troop,
this trait.
Communion is a new trait. So
very creative. This is like essentially when they took away the revive bolts, I kind of missed the healing effect of them because I hated what the revive bolts did to the game. But I think having the healing bolt in the game was really fun and unique. And with this trait, we're seeing like kind of a slightly weaker healing bolt effect, where instead of using an actual bolt to heal your teammate for like no downside, you're spending some of your health to heal your teammate for half of their health. So you're actually burning 15 of your max health. This can burn out your bars, keep in mind. So if you keep spamming this, which you could, you will lose your bars healing your teammates, but it could also have incredible value in certain cases. So this chars out 15 health, and it has no limit to like breaking a bar. So if you're using it once and then using it again right after, you will actually lose a bar. So keep that in mind.
It
has a significant downside, but it also is also very powerful in the right situation. Drops will go live tomorrow.
Sometimes you just have that one guy in the team who doesn't have any hits, but at one point at least, what you can get some med charges from them, etc. If they're still alive, or maybe you're lucky and actually pick.
Cast time on it is I don't remember exactly. It's not very long.
And
it's like a little channeling in Dark Side.
Now we can make them a bit more useful as well for our team effort.
You will get the 15 back slowly, same as normal chart, but it takes a lot of time still.
And what it does is basically in Dark Side they can trade 15 hit points, like 15
yes, if you keep spamming it, you will lose the chunk. Yeah,
and give you 75.
You could run a big chunk to benefit more.
You might get downed and losing those 15.
To be able to use it a bit more without losing a bar.
It's only a short temporary thing because it regens right back up.
Maybe having a big chunk at the end will be more worth it now.
Action is quite nice.
There's another reason for that too, by the way, because there's another nerf that we're going to get into in a little bit, which is the nerf to Relentless and recovery shots. Combining that with this, the way this trait works, I could see how having a big bar at the end might suddenly be worth it now compared to before. I've already ran only small bars up until now, but I might honestly switch over to like having a big bar at the end with these changes. We'll see.
So it gives you a lot of power in a team that can coordinate well, or if you have again a support player as part of it to really.
It only heals for 75 as far as I'm aware. Yes, it's not a restoration. It's a healing effect, like a shot.
Again, with a drawback, but something which is really nice. And obviously you can do this multiple times, like so if you want, and then that obviously has the risk at one point you might then lose more than like a chunk worth of health, and you need to top it up yourself, or you need to run a like a regeneration shot or whatever. Again, part of the sandbox rule set, lots of options you have in there, and yeah, I think it's quite nice for that one. So support players might appreciate this.
Yeah,
very much so.
You guys are gonna see this a lot on the gameplay.
Does not remove it.
Oh,
it does actually clean statuses. Yeah, it says, this is like the. I missed that part. This is like the garden card, right? It heals for 75 and it cleanses statuses. So if you're burning, if you're bleeding, if you're poisoned, it will take that away and heal you for 75. It's very powerful. It's it's pretty amazing actually. So can't wait to see what kind of use we can get out of this. When servers back up, official times is scheduled to be on in like 45 minutes ish. Could be longer, could be less.
We're definitely gonna see a lot of communion on our gameplay streams too, but let's talk about something we already showed a bit, and you already mentioned it, the brand new attraction this time around, the High Striker booth.
Yeah, so the High Striker booth is really cool because it feels so fitting to
Loving
the
this edition, by the way.
It's a test of strength, and depending on the melee attacks you do at that machine, you will get event points for it. And so the rewards are kind of based on how much damage you do, so you can already in your math kind of think, oh, what could be the maximum to get? Because there's quite a lot of points to be harvested here. Like so you can get from a High Striker, you can get up to I think 40 event points. That's quite a substantial amount. However,
that is a high amount of points indeed. Yeah,
ones across the map. Like so,
this is a solid way to get some points.
You can also sometimes find at supply points. The High Striker also can show up at those, not only at the circus directly. However, the progress of the High Strikers are shared across the mission. So if you've already
are you talking about the communion trait for us? Will it make solos life harder?
High score. You
maybe, but it's situational and it also punishes the person using it. So
probably
goes both ways.
You can only get one high score.
Johnny Fox, welcome guys.
But it also prevents you from having to.
Here's an interesting detail about this. The High Striker boosts share the same score. So if you hit one at some point and then you find another one later on, and you have a hammer instead of a knuckle knife, for example, you can actually hit it again for higher damage and get more points later on, and it just kind of like caps out at some point. So you get points based on your high score, essentially. So yeah, as far as I understand, it can be up to 40 points if you hit the max, which I am assuming is a Railroad Hammer hit, and potentially with Berserker. I'm not sure if you need that, but yeah.
Always maybe go back to the circus to find another one, and maybe you got some really cool new weapon or found something in the world that might give you more damage, and you try it again.
Yeah, so why don't we just take a look at
let's go.
How to interact with the booth itself.
Can you shoot it? No, this is melee damage only.
Yeah. Punching it doesn't do much there. Not even the first one. There we go, though. Heavy punch, though, is already a little bit more. So, like, this has a little ladder, like, goes up to, like, 100. And this is not 100 points, but this is just, like, the percentage. And then, obviously, if you beat the top score, you get, like, a little bell. And then you get the
Railroad Hammer mains are going to enjoy this.
If you only ever beat what you have before by a little margin, you get now the difference to the next one. So, in total, multiple interactions can still add up to 40 event points you can harvest from that. And this is a great way, if you've gone prepared, like to kind of like go directly on a spending spree at the circus, besides obviously picking up all the balloons and defeating all the Mortis.
That is finally useful.
And of course, in this video, we didn't want to reveal what is the best option here. So we're just...
I think everybody is clueless what that could be.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I wonder, what is the Strongman weapon again? I don't know. But yeah, that is for the circus part of the stream. So let's leave the circus a bit and dive into update 2.6 part.
We'll get into it in a little bit, John.
Starting with something
recovery shot
new,
and Relentless nerf
feature.
Yeah, this is something I'm really super excited about talking about.
Also covered in my event update video. If anyone wants a quick 12-minute summary, exclamation mark event in chat.
That we're rolling out with update 2.6.
Great contact for the follow.
The player profile is
loving the player
really
profile
new ones, because it just opens up a new way of possibilities for you to express yourself. So think of it as a profile that you can customize. You can put achievements for that you can complete it for yourself, like being good at a certain weapon.
Avatar, badges, stat trackers, title and frame.
Show them off.
I've been wanting stat trackers in this game for years.
Have, like, avatars, badges, there's stat trackers, titles, and frames. So you can kind of really build up the one that represents you the most. And there's ways of obviously to see them. So we have them visible on the dev screen, so you can kind of see the card of your killer if you want to.
Appreciate the 6 months. Thank you.
You also have it in the last mission details, and teammates in the lobby can show it.
Yeah, this will be shown everywhere when you're loading into a match, when you're
as you enter a match, so
in the lobby and everything.
Completes before you start loading
so
in.
You can showcase your biggest achievements.
Cards are right next to each other, so it's really cool. It's almost like you kind of like private hunter business cards.
Fully customizable as well.
What's important for you.
I showcased this in some detail in my event video as well, but we'll also see some here in a second.
Build your own there.
So yeah, let's see what's on these profiles. What can be on them exactly?
Yeah, so the profiles are made up of an avatar. So that's like the background image. That can be hunters, monsters.
There will be 2 avatars, I think, in the Twitch drops that start tomorrow.
Badges that you can show. So this is like about weapon mastery, for example. If you're really good with the bow, if you're really good with like.
If you're really good with the what? Sorry.
Throwing axes, etc. Can show
yes, sir.
We also have 3 stat trackers.
I love that they always use the bow as an example.
For example, the kills you've been doing or total bounty you've earned, certain specific weapon stats, things like, for example, your furthest kill or the amount of headshots you've been doing. So there's plenty of different stats to pick from, again, whichever fits most, and you can choose up to 3 of those. And then you also have a custom title that you could put in. So it gives you basically like the chance to kind of like express
a lot of avatars for Bloodbones. That's not so great. But at the same time, you only need one, though, to be fair.
Like there's like
that's the background image on your card, so you'll probably get the one you like and stick with it, I imagine.
Special,
not like you need all of them.
Like gameplay progression beats, some of them you can purchase, but in some of them you also might be able
ETA is like 40 minutes.
Specific. For example, in the battle pass for the Murder Circus, there is one title, which is the Ringmaster, as an example. And so yeah, most of these awards I just mentioned already, like they're earned through gameplay. This is progression events. It's the best way for expressing yourself, is kind of show of what you've been able to do. So if you can just purchase everything, it would be kind of meaningless.
Good morning.
To also show off that you earned those and you actually are a true marksman, or you're good with a particular shotgun or whatever weapon you really create.
Or a bow.
Yeah, let's take a look at a few examples where you can see.
This looks amazing. Love this.
Yeah, so these 3 examples, there's a bit of overlap between them.
Love that there are bows on 2 of them.
Purposes, but you can see already like there's like custom frames for
solo
them,
kills,
like
headshots, furthest kill distance, marksman kills, monsters killed, maxed out hunters, team swipe, carbon kills.
You can see the background. I can already spoil. In order to get the Beetle background, you need to do.
There's basically an option for every weapon in the game. I think every single weapon is covered, plus a lot of other things. So whatever you enjoy, you're most likely going to be able to track it and display it. One thing that I did find out that wasn't mentioned in this, as far as I'm aware, is that you actually don't start tracking until you buy or acquire the badge. Personally, I hate that. I don't like that at all. I have given my feedback on that. I think that it should track regardless and only show once you get the badge, so that like if you at some point down the line wanted to buy the badge like a year in and you got, you know, 1,000 kills with the crossbow in the meantime, then you get the crossbow badge. You should show the 1,000 kills even though you didn't have the badge from a year ago. So I kind of hate that they're doing that. I don't really like that at all, but I love the way it works. My recommendation to you guys, if you have anything that you like doing, make sure you get the badges that you care about early if you're going to get them, because you won't be tracking them otherwise. I assume once you've actually purchased the badge that it will track even if the badge is not equipped. I haven't tested it yet, so don't quote me on it. I assume that it will, but would be freaking lame if it doesn't. But yeah, in any case, I will personally be acquiring all of the badges that I care about, and just making sure that I'm tracking this from the start. That would be my recommendation for you guys to do that as well, so you don't get burnt on this in the future. Does it count assists? This should only be your personal kills as far as I'm aware, but don't quote me on that. I'm not sure if it counts assists. I can't imagine it does.
Kills with the Beetle, so
happy
grinding on that one. You can also see, like, for example, that Beetle person, if you just take them a bit more in detail. So obviously they seem to be liking playing with beetles. They like traps. There's a trap on that.
Sorry to hear that. I hope everything is okay. Good luck with that.
Box. Throwing axe.
Lion, thanks for following.
Ticks the box. He has a title, like the scout type of thing, and then he is very proud of his solo kills.
Seer, thank you so much for the tier 3. Really appreciate it. Thanks for the 26.
So probably it's also like maybe using a sniper. So this might be the business card of a solo hunter that is very, very much about like stealthy gameplay, just uses the beetles and like sniping, which could maybe be me.
Will there be badges like rifle kills, or will there only be specific weapons? I'm not entirely sure, Tommy. I can't recall, but there's a whole bunch of stuff, so I guess we'll see soon.
The middle one being very much engaged with the Murder Circus
servers
event,
are down for maintenance.
Ringmaster, pistols, that's one of the unlockables you have in there. It shows the progress of the circus event, so they have completed like the 10 levels of the circus. It's a gold one. As you can also see, the bow and arrow on the left one, for example, like it's kind of like metallic.
Solo kills, does that only count
just one rank there
when you play in solo, or does it count when you kill solo even in team? I'm assuming that's when you're loading in as a solo.
Just a badge, but it's also kind of showcasing
because the way that this is working, as far as I understand, is it's actually about killing blows, not about kills per se. So the person that gets the killing blow and is credited for the actual kill is the one that counts, right? So if you're in a team and you're getting a kill, that counts towards your marksman kills or your whatever kills, right? But if it says solo kill specifically, then I can only assume that means you're loading in solo and killing people that way. So killing blows landed in solo, basically.
Of how far you've progressed, and that makes it really
I'm not 100% on that, but that makes the most sense.
Yeah, you might see like some overlap in the stats they've been choosing, so they also like to kind of show their solo kills off, but they also pride themselves.
Most of this is for blood bonds, as far as I have been able to.
And how many kills with marksman scopes they've.
Relatively low price though,
again,
like
50
it's a very
personal way for you to express yourself and kind of like give yourself like that.
And some from battle pass, and probably more in the future as well.
Like, this is who I am, and especially maybe for playing with random hunters, it's quite nice to kind of see what they probably will have in store for you when you play together.
Yeah, and let's talk about the progression. How do you exactly earn these?
Yeah, so in total we have like 300
about 35 minutes or so.
Launch. So keep in mind, this is a new system, and we start feeding that system, but the system will also not be fully
300 unlockable items at launch, so there's a lot of options there. There's a lot of options.
For example, for hunters that maybe your favorite hunter, but might not be represented yet, rest assured, there's going to be more and more of those being added. But we have already like 300 unlockable items that you can kind of choose from and combine, and more coming in the future. So the more premium options are usually focused around the avatars, maybe some of the weapon stat trackers and the titles. But like we also have like the badges, the frames, and the most titles in general, and they're all progression based. So if you want to show off, then you need to put in the work and actually use these weapons.
There are levels to the things. So basically, like if in my case it's going to be like bow. I can't recall if it's like Bowmaster or whatever it's called. It actually goes up to, I think, level 10. So I'm not sure entirely how many kills you're going to need, but I'm assuming it's quite a bit of, or I think it's actually XP based, not kills based. I'm not 100% on that, but basically you keep playing it and you level up your badge to all the way up to, I believe, level 10. So it's pretty cool.
To events and story challenges, I meant that earlier. For example,
got to put in some time with it to max it out.
Coming as part of the battle pass progression. And some of the story challenges we talked about earlier also might come with like specific pieces for that one as well.
Ice Wolf, welcome in.
And why don't we take a look at how to equip these and how the players exactly find them in the menus as well?
Would be cool to get skins for badge ranks. Would be very cool, and I'm hoping they do that in the future.
Like, if you
that would be a meaningful end-game grind.
And then move on to a player profile. You can go through different categories. You can see
here are the avatars.
Them, like how you acquire
There's
them.
a Seawolf one, so I guess I'll be using that one.
Are they gated by progression?
They covered most of these, or a lot of the hunters. They said that they're aiming to have every single hunter covered in the future. So whatever your favorite hunter is, you'll probably be able to either get it already or a bit down the line for your card.
Ones are currently available, and I can kind of build this up in a nice way again.
So chill.
The badges, the frames, the titles, the 3 different like
have to buy the battle pass and story. So there's a free story progression, and
it's going to be very interesting to see how people are going to use that.
What's it called? Story challenge or whatever, and there's one paid one. It's completely optional. You don't have to buy anything.
Profiles, of course.
It's like buying a DLC. You don't need to buy it. You can buy it. Look at this. There's a $1 million hunt dollar purchase. You can spend $1 million hunt dollars to purchase a badge, which is called Millionaire, I think. So that's pretty cool. If you have a lot of money, you can display like the Millionaire badge on your card, and like sink all of your extra cash into it. It's pretty cool.
See, as you scroll, that costs $1 million. So if you
nice to have a little money dump in the game.
You can
finally
show off. You might not be a millionaire afterwards unless you have multiple of those. But yeah, it's a nice little like money sinking in a way as well. Like, so if you wonder what to do with all that money you're sitting on,
waffle take to the prime.
Opportunity right there. Yeah, it's some really good stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot
Except the bow badge, which badges will I use? Main or sniper silencer.
And how we are starting fresh with this.
And I'm not sure about the last one yet. We'll see when the
unlocks, they do not retroactively count the old progress. So this is something that we were looking into if this is a feasible options for us, and like just the way the data works. I think you can already show like the subpoints there. Like how the data management works. It's not always possible. So only
sadly, most unlocks do not retroactively count all progress. So that's pretty unfortunate. As someone who has manually tracked over 17,500 bow kills over the last few years, that means that my bow tracker will start on 0. Would love to have the 17,500 actually showing on there, but it is what it is. The cool part about this is that everybody starts on an even point, you know. So if you run into someone and you see, well, you know, this person has 5,000 kills with this weapon, then you know they got that since this update. And you can also kind of compare yourself to other people if you're running into someone and you say, well, this person had 1,000 bow kills and I have like 3,000 bow kills. So you can kind of like compare that when you see the cards and things. So that's pretty cool. But obviously it would be nice if it would carry over, but unfortunately that's not the case.
Some of the stats really make sense to continue to be tracked, like
Cyber
that, for example, for like some of the pre 2.6 statistics, like the monsters killed or your prestige level, etc. So those you still have. However, like for the most of them, they only count when you actually start unlocking them. So if there's a weapon stat tracker that you've unlocked, it will start counting from 0 from that point on, and then you make progress, which is actually quite nice because it gives everybody like a fresh start, and everybody has like a plain field. It would be kind of a shame if everybody would unlock 90% of all the cool content. So I think it's a way for you to also.
That's one thing that I didn't think about actually until now, until he mentioned it. It's the fact that if they did track everything from the start, imagine you play the game as much as I have. You have 7,000 hours in the game. I have done a mastery video for every single weapon in the game. Actually, 2 mastery videos for every weapon in the game at this point. I've done a full rerun. I've played everything a ton. If this was retroactively applying, that would mean that I would unlock like a lot of the upgrades for every single weapon already, and I wouldn't have anything to work on. So it's actually kind of cool. It's actually kind of neat. A kind of neat change in a way. So it depends on how you look at it, but there's some pros and there's some cons, and I think overall it's probably not a bad thing. I still think it's pretty lame, and I will emphasize this again. I would strongly encourage Crytek as well to make sure that everything tracks regardless of whether you purchase the badge yet or not. I think that's lame. I don't like it. I don't think they should do that. I love the way that everything around this works. That's my biggest criticism about this whole system, is the fact that it doesn't track until you actually get the badge. That is pretty lame. I don't like it. All I'm going to say about it.
I kind of like appreciate that.
Golden Capitran there, apparently.
Competition, like who gets like to the gold level of a particular weapon first between you and your friends. So yeah, in general, for the most part, expect stuff to start from 0, but there's going to be a few exceptions to that.
And of course, as I mentioned, I cannot wait to see the community's profiles. And for this, we are actually launching a little campaign. So make sure to send your profiles in with the hashtag #huntprofile on social media, so on Facebook.
They just answered on Reddit that it tracks even if you didn't purchase yet. Did they? Because I asked specifically about it yesterday, and they also said in this video that that's not the case. So unless they changed their mind about it and realized that that was a bad idea, because it's a terrible idea. Let's be real. It's a terrible idea to make sure that, like, imagine someone starts making a lot of progress. They play the game for 2 years from now, and they start farming and playing all sorts of weapons. And then, like, 2 years down the line, they buy, like, the penny shot Derringer badge or whatever. And then they start from zero, even though they might have had a 190 kills with it or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's pretty bad if they keep that, but hopefully they change their mind about it and make sure that it tracks everything from the start until you get the badge. That way people don't get that insane FOMO as well. Because the alternative would be to buy everything. You can purchase the badges in game for like 50 blood bonds per, I believe, and some are of progression, some are battle pass, I think, etc.
X, Instagram, wherever you would like. Share it in the stories. Just make sure to tag us.
There's not a wipe now. There's some new systems in play.
A bunch of rewards
that starts tracking from now.
Giveaways, items, and some things I cannot share that you will be able to win. It will run throughout the whole event, so please make sure to share your profiles, and of course keep an eye on our social media for more info on this one. But I think it's gonna be such a
it's gonna be
activity.
amazing.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
And
it is gonna be
maybe
amazing.
We're gonna share Dennis's, and let's see if you can guess it or not.
The good thing is, man, you can share it multiple times as well. You can kind of share your journey in the beginning, and then as you unlock more and more, like, you might want to upgrade it and share it again. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a very fun thing, engagement beat.
Yeah, it's really fun. Again, use hashtag #huntprofile on social media and share your profiles with us and win something along the way.
Absolutely.
So now we talked about this cool new feature. Let's talk about some quality of life changes.
Yes.
Especially with the map, pings, and the compass. That is all seeing rework.
Yeah, so these are like 3 different systems that we've been focused on this update.
Let's take
the map screen rework. You've seen a little bit already in some of the videos earlier. So in general, we kind of refresh the map visuals. So icons, how the boss target areas are being shaping up and revealed. So the overview on that screen is so much better. You also have an updated trait display, so kind of sorts the traits even like in terms of last acquired, and even highlights the ones you found this mission. So it's a nice little overview. You kind of see which ones you got this round. And makes the whole thing a bit more meaningful. And specifically for those playing with controller, we also have like a tooltip support for that one. So if you view the trait details, you can use the trait button, and then you have the D-pad for navigation on the map screen, so you can kind of move around, and we automatically pop in the hints, giving you some information what this trait is about. This is especially interesting for new players who like might not really understand what trait they just got there, and then have a chance to kind of read it up, which before was hard if you were on controller or played on console. And yeah, we also have the widget for tracking the challenges. You've seen it in the video before, where you can see both your story challenges and the weekly challenges. You can tap between them and catch your progress.
So on the left side here, you can see the story challenges. You can flip it over, and then you can see your weekly challenges while you're in the game, and you can keep on tracking them there very simply. On the right side, you can also see the traits, and you see there's a little like glowing icon on traits that are acquired in the match. The overall map has gotten a little facelift, looks cleaner, new icons, more just cleaned up in general. Butcher and bounty token on the top left, you can see what is needed to be done. For example, for the bounty token, it says go to the circus. So new players wondering, where do I get this token? What is it? We'll actually be able to tell easily what it is. For the butcher, it says track down your boss target 0 out of 3. So it's like pretty simple to understand for anyone who might be new. Overall, a very clean and good design, and you can also see the background a bit now, so it's not just like an entire map screen anymore. You can actually see everything. What do I think about profile customizations being purchasable with hunt dollars? I think that would make very little sense, because everybody has way too many hunt dollars, and then you would just be able to buy everything off the bat. You're not going to need to get every single customization option. You're probably going to choose the ones you like and the ones that you care about. So for me personally, I'm going to get like the bow, the main sniper, and one more thing, and I'm going to put that on my card. I'm going to leave that on my card, and that's it. And you know, it's not bad. It's like 150 blood bonds to get those 3 things probably. I think another 200 for the background, but you can probably get some from like events, battle passes and stuff as well. So it's a little bit of blood bonds. It's nothing terrible, and you support the game that you love at the same time. I don't see it as terrible. I don't think anyone really needs to buy every single badge in the game, but that really depends on whether they, you know, start tracking from the time you buy them, or if they track from the start, like we discussed. So I guess we'll see.
Might still want to do this round.
Okay, so let's just take it actually from in-game, and let's talk about part starting with the map side of things.
Yeah, so like in the center, you see cleaner icons, smaller. You might also now maybe understand why we updated throughout the year over a few of those icons. I felt like, oh, why did I change that particular icon? Well, I think some of that got clear also when we talked about the Chariot Tarot card and the lock, etc. And this is also part of it, like to conclude the set, having like a nicer overview, having them less intrusive. It's a better overview in general, and the stuff doesn't get in the way as much as before. We reworked the objective part as well, so it's much clearer for you to understand the objectives you currently have. For example, that you're actually supposed to go to the circus if there is one of the bounties there. And you might already see this a little bit underneath the butcher on the top left, which is the current active target. You see this red line, and that's the color of the area. And if there were two of those bosses, we don't have a screenshot, but you can probably see that very easily then in the game. The second boss also has a line, but it might be a dotted line. So we don't need to superimpose the boss icons like with Roman numerals like we did in the past on top of the map, and then kind of like they change position all the time as the map shrinks.
Well, the bounty lightning still be a minute out of date. It's a little bit delayed, and that's intentional because it's not supposed to be perfectly trackable.
From the border of that region.
So the little delay that you see on the lightning on the map when someone's carrying bounty is supposed to be that way.
This one we talked about already, so story challenges as well as the weekly transition, you can kind of toggle between those. The legend has been cleaned up a lot, so there's more items.
No changes to that as far as I'm aware.
The new icon style, everything has been updated and nicer and more polished. So some really, really cool effort there from the UI guys to kind of like cleaning it up and making sure it's really, really nice to read.
And of course, we can see the traits part as well, where it highlights the new traits you found during the mission.
This is really cool as well. You can see like Shadow, apparently you picked up this mission, and it's kind of shown in there. So like if you don't remember, like did I get this time around? What's going on? Like just it's not the most important information, but it's still good information to have, and just makes navigating that map screen just even more rewarding because you can kind of get a quick overview easily.
Yeah, and last but not least, I think we didn't mention that you can actually see the game in the background now.
Yeah, which sounds really cool.
Yeah, that's really nice. You get a little bit more of an overview. Still blocking a lot of it, but at least you can see a little bit what's going on.
You have a bit more situational awareness while on the map screen. Obviously, the map is still the focus at that point, but you might understand a little bit better what's going on.
At least you see that you ran into a tree.
You might see that dynamite bundle like coming your way.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we talked about the map side of things, but why don't we talk about the brand new ping markers?
Yeah, so this is a complete rehaul, an overhaul, rework, any combination of these two words that you can now benefit from. So what it does is that we looked at
they fixed the GDS.
Using pings.
Rabbit, thank you for the follow.
In the last iteration of this one, the version we've had so far, it was a bit limiting, right? You had like your alert ping, and you had one ping that you can place, and you would always just override it and place it somewhere
Two pings now instead of one.
There was a very few contextual information carried across with a ping. Like I think we had for a few ammo boxes, etc. There were like 7 or so.
Don't mind if I do, Leno.
Kind of like directly ping, and you would understand what they are. And we've expanded all of that one. So it's a completely rework of the system. And the important piece was that
appreciate your legend. Thank you.
Two pings you can do at the same time. One is your regular ping, and then you can also have an object marker ping. So if you, for example, say I walk around that map, I'm gonna ping. Let's go over to that forest. Like ping in the forest. As we walk, I see a few seconds later an ammo box on the left side. I'm going to ping the ammo box. Now, my regular ping
context pings expanded from 7 to 58 objects.
Highlighted that contextual thing there as well. They also run it through timers. We're going to look at that in a second. So we try to adapt it a bit more to how people want to use the system from our playtesting, what we've learned about it. And you still obviously have the alert ping as well if you just double click. So in general,
same Glimmer, good to see a lot.
Contextual pieces. I think we added like over 50. I think it says there like we went from 7 to 58 contextual marker points. So now like different animals you might be able to ping, cache registers, things, just whatever is meaningful. This is not only interesting for playing with randoms. Or
most object things autumn remove when the object is gone or no longer relevant.
Like, it gives you so much more overview and helps you to coordinate with your team. And so yeah, most of them auto remove when the object is gone, no longer relevant as well. So we try to make it as smart as possible. And you can also, if you want, if you just
Leno, thanks for the gift this
again, you can remove them
to Spain as well.
So
appreciate it.
Like you no longer need to just like ping somewhere else, which maybe confuses people what you mean. Even if you just wanted to clear the space in front of you, you can actually now assign
later of the month. Let's go.
Remove them as well.
Yeah, so you mentioned the durations and the objects, so let's talk about them in a bit more detail.
Are there gun things? I assume so. I haven't tested that specifically.
So yeah, again, like 58 pieces in total. There's everything which is kind of interactive in the world. You can expect now to
cash
have
registers, equipment, traps, barrels, animals, interactables, clues,
types
rifts.
of equipment. The traps very important, even the barrels, and with like sub-components.
Little bit of an interesting side note here. Clues, rifts, and we did watch this yesterday as well, but pinging rifts is only really relevant if there is someone else to ping it for. And because rifts are the clues in Soul Survivor, which is a solo mode, who knows? Just all I'm saying, like, they haven't confirmed anything here, but I know a lot of people have been wanting Team Soul Survivor. Maybe this is a prep stage for Team Soul Survivor making its way into the game in the future. Hopefully.
So like, is it a fire barrel, is it an explosive barrel, etc. So
okay,
you can run a lot more the different animal types, like so whether you're pinging ducks, whether you're pinging a horse.
To answer your question, John, about server issues, there's like an incredibly long list of like bug fixes and changes. I don't know if there's any specific server
if you might want to like
changes, but I would refer to the patch notes for that probably.
And they look at it and say, oh shit, it's red, another team nearby. Like, so it just helps you just coordinate a little bit better.
Sheppy, thank you for the
tier 1. Interesting piece here is the movement pings. So they work on the animals that might fly away or move away.
This is a cool one.
So they kind of stay on them as they take off.
So the crows flying away, the ping will stay on it.
We intentionally do not have contextual pings.
So it's like a little static crow just flying off into the distance. It's pretty funny.
For monsters. So anything
we saw during the early access stream yesterday.
We intentionally don't have that because we want to avoid you kind of like just spamming the horizon and maybe getting lucky to figure out that hunter is actually dead in the bush, or like whether this is like a particular AI over there or whatever. Just it keeps the system clean. It's more about like objects and pieces you find in the world, not so much about enemies. So this was something we wanted to stay true to, and also the new system didn't expand into being able to ping those. So yeah, in general, it's a great system. It allows you to keep a better overview, and the durations for that one have been adjusted as well. So like by default, the ping remains for 15 seconds. If you manage to ping like a trap, because again, like
from what I can tell, when it comes to like the crows and stuff, you can't actually ping them when they're flying. I think at least I tried to do that and I couldn't make it work. It seems like you have to ping them first, and if they take off, then you will be able to see it flying off. It is possible that you might be able to ping it mid-air, but I was not able to do that yesterday, so I guess we'll see.
Playing with Benzer.
Would probably be more
you
meaningful
might want
if
your
you
teammates
could.
to be aware of the traps that either you place.
15 seconds duration for default marker, 24 for traps,
before they run
2 for danger
so they
ping.
stay a little bit longer with 24 seconds, and then the danger ping is just the 2 seconds, so it's more of a fire and forget quick alert one.
Yeah, it's surely like the longer duration for the traps.
I think it's actually not just traps. I think it's contextual markers in general, not just traps, but I could be wrong about that.
Great, because usually it was just pinged for me and I forgot it in like 2 seconds. Now at least
maybe
I will know
traps.
that it's there, so it's great. But why don't we take a look at some examples of this and some
Here,
of the new icons in actions too.
So as you can see here, you see some flock of birds, so ping in there. We actually have a red color on those as well, or like in this case the dogs. So just gives you a chance to kind of like ping those and have them stand out a little bit more.
Yeah, so different contextual markers on various items, medkits, ammo boxes, everything else.
Now, what's really cool is this is all a new system. So before, just a bit of a technical background, like we were mostly using particles to kind of like use and spawn the pings in the world, and they were also kind of impacted by the lighting.
Server should be up soon, Goblin.
In the area, etc. They were kind of like affected by stuff. Now this is all working from the UI. So it gives us much more control. It's much cleaner, and we can do a lot more with the icon language and the details of the
I think well.
So works in dark, works in bright, and is much more consistent. So again, that's why it's an entire rework of the entire system we had. And they should feel
Same to you, I hope you're having an amazing day as well.
More reliable.
Hello, Jones.
And in general, you have a lot more context now for pinging what is actually mattering for you.
And what interesting in the video, you could also see that the contextual ping as well as the location ping being separate.
At the same time there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's something to tie into it because you already
this count towards the drops. No, the drops start tomorrow.
Compass and visibility improvements overall that really ties into the ping system too.
Yeah. So when we looked at the pings, we also said like, you know, it would be really cool if the ping would also be available on the compass, so that you have a chance to kind of see what's going on there. Maybe be more precise.
So if you're looking at the compass, there will be a marker for your pings there as well, so you can kind of see those when you're turning around and like find their directions and stuff.
And being able to just like kind of default up to the top and see, oh, okay, well, it's a little bit on the left on the compass. For me, at least, is very helpful. So it has kind of the matching icon. So it's only one icon you need to learn. You kind of see when something's been pinged, and consequently we kind of move the compass a little bit lower. So reworked some of the details around it, made it a bit nicer. So like these two features kind of like synergize quite nicely and don't fight each other. We also have like a bit of a changes on the way we calculate the transparency on ping markers.
Very nice change, by the way.
Just to avoid them getting in
the ADS, it becomes almost transparent.
So, like, I mean, everybody remembers like, oh, can you please remove the ping? Remove the ping. I can't see. Like that type of stuff is a bit easier now as they kind of fade out the closer you get to the crosshair. So yeah, in general, improved system, great system, but you need to try it out for yourself, obviously, which you can very soon. So looking out for your feedback from that one.
Yeah, sounds great. But let's talk about some other gameplay changes that we have in store, starting with some of our scarce weapons.
Yeah, so people have been asking about like, so what happens with the scarce weapons? And we've tried to be open and communicative about like, yeah, they're going to stay.
Little side note, if you missed it, I have made a scarce weapon guide for both the Homestead and the Wildlands so far, which you can find on my YouTube channel. And there will be a new mastery video coming out for the Shredder as well soon. So just stay tuned if you want to learn more about the scarce weapons, how you can get them, how they work, all the details around them. Check out my different scarce weapon mastery guides in my mastery playlist on YouTube, and keep an eye open for the Shredder mastery to learn more about that weapon and watch some gameplay once that video goes live in probably a few days or so.
The game. Just to repeat this again here for those who have kind of like missed that message.
Little nerf to Wildland here with a bit higher spread.
You can get more of them. So
nothing too dramatic.
Those away anymore.
A little bit of a nerf.
If you have homesteads, if you have Wildlands en masse on your hunters, be happy because you can just continue using them whenever you want. The way we looked at them though is like we wanted to make sure that like balancing wise they are also not standing out too much. One balancing point, it's just a minor point, was the Wildland, for example. So we increased the spread just a little bit. This was mostly to counter some of the levering being a bit.
Is the patch notes up? I would assume it's not. It usually gets posted after the update.
It's still powerful.
I'll post it in my update video, event video when it is available. Exclamation mark event. If we want a full summary in just 12 minutes
from the store.
Check out that video.
You need to find it in the vault, need to loot it off dead hunters, etc.
Small chance to spawn Wildland or Homestead in watchtowers. Those are the big towers for anyone wondering, where you normally would be able to find the sealed cash registers and the traits and the posters and everything. One thing worth noting, based on my testing, these are pretty rare. So I actually checked a lot of towers during my playtesting time when I was making my video, trying to find these, and it seemed very, very rare. I think I saw one box in the whole playtesting thing. So yeah, it's pretty low chance. Might be worth grabbing these when you see them, if you don't already have a stockpile from the last update. Depending on whether you care about these weapons at all, but they're pretty great weapons in my opinion. So might be worth bringing them if you're on your way out and if you happen to find them in the towers. So. Philo, thank you for the tier 1. And Bedsug, thank you so much for the tier 2. I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you for the support.
We don't want to overburden this.
First time sub from Bedsug as well. Thank you. Really appreciate the tier 2.
Towers. And there's a small chance
tower cards
that
are staying,
one of those boxes spawns in there.
Can be found in the circus.
For 3 pledge marks. So maybe makes sense to hold on to some of those, and gives you an opportunity to bring more of those weapons out of the mission and then use them later on. So in general, like it's a feature that's really, really cool and enriching. We don't want them to be too dominating, but also
the Shredder is only in the circus, yes.
And like finding some of these weapons would just give you like slightly the edge, just slightly better than what you.
How many homesteads and Wildlands can you store? There's no limit for scarce weapons, so as many as you want.
So Dennis, do you still have your water around? Because
I need to sip from a water bottle.
Because yeah,
this is my favorite part, the wet status effect. All right, so a little funny side note here. When I was playtesting this, and when we got the initial patch note, like the work in progress patch notes, it was called the Doused effect. And then I was laughing my ass off when they later changed it to the wet status effect, because I knew how this is going to go. So prepare to get wet, chat, because here we go.
So we have a brand new wet status effect now.
Yeah,
Hashtag moist.
Let's talk about that one. So this is maybe let's wind back a moment. So what we've had so far is that if you are burning as a hunter, if you walk into deep water, you would be able to kind of like stop the burn, right? Like just like you kind of extinguish yourself. It's faster than having to do the self-interaction. And just like it's a nice thing that has been in the game practically forever. In a similar way, the emulators, for example,
wait for the memes around this.
Had a change like some years ago, where if they are also in this deep water, they wouldn't burst if you do damage to them. They looked exactly the same, right? Like
the stream kind of towards watch time for drops, yes, but it starts tomorrow.
Like
starts on the 12th.
Without them bursting.
I will be on every day for long hours.
They do, unless you
get all your drops on this channel.
So, this is where we came from, and we wanted to kind of unify the system and add a bit more gameplay value to it. Obviously, there's this forever fight going on between igniting and extinguishing in this game. Like how strong should fire be? How easy should it be to save my teammates? How easy should it be to me prevent losing bars? Or
how easy should it be for me to make my teammates well? All these questions, like there's so many questions, so few answers. It is what it is. Ani, hello.
Doused, take the fall. Should it be? We've been trying different aspects of them out various the various updates and tried different extremes. And I think so far in general we're in a good position right now in the game. But the wet status effect that we're adding is kind of like a new layer we wanna try it on top of that one. So what does it do? Hunters become wet after being in deep water, in heavy rain, or from water bottle splashes. So I talk about the water bottle in a moment.
A little splash can make anyone wet.
Is that you see a small little status effect on the bottom left, like when you're poisoned or you have a regeneration shot, and that only lasts for 15 seconds. Obviously, if you're standing in heavy rain, if you're standing in deep water, like it will never start going down. It will just stay at 15. But the moment you're no longer benefiting from that, it will start diminishing. So it just gives you a short-term wet status effect that has some pros and some cons to it.
Yeah.
In general, burning starts slower. Like think of it like
self-skin.
It protects you a little bit better if you're wet. Like so maybe that Hellfire Bomb doesn't take away the full chunk, or the flare pistol shot doesn't take the full chunk, or general like you might be holding on to your bottle.
Think of it. Gift the sub legend. Appreciate it.
In that wet state and kind of douse yourself a little bit of water once in a while. We also have like a synergy, obviously, with the self-skin traits, so they kind of like work together.
Can't wait for the whiskey bottle.
Have the effect of self-skin, you actually get both like multiplied on top of each other. So self-skin plus being in a wet state is obviously even faster way to recover. And one of the drawbacks is that your footsteps just a little bit more louder, like they're a bit more squishy, right? Like as
you're like a little bit like
so you might be maybe a little bit easier to track. So something to keep in mind. It's not the most severe or problematic issue, but it's just one of the things you have to consider in a wet state. And it also affects the monsters. So we talked about the emulator and what we had so far.
This is my favorite part of this whole dev stream. Emulators don't burst while wet. Love that. Excellent phrasing, Crytek. Excellent phrasing. Do go on.
The emulator now actually conveys a proper nice visual update. So you kind of see them almost like extinguished, like they're still smoking because they're still obviously having the fire inside them.
Being wet does make you louder, yes.
For the most part, they're a bit harmless now. And this is something we want to dial up a little bit more as well. So you want to get the emulators into this kind of wet down state as well, because it allows you to then benefit from their weakness. I think
you heard it here first. You should get the emulators wet.
Why don't we just take a look at the video and let's see how the wet status effect looks in the game.
As you can see here, like someone threw some water at me. I don't know how they managed to do that. And on the bottom left, you see the countdown going down. So being hit, for example, with a flare pistol, you don't lose the bar directly. In a similar way here, the emulator running into the water.
What are you doing, step emulator?
In this wet state. He's like
on a serious note, though, despite all the wet jokes, once the emulators are wet, giggity, they can actually be penetrated without bursting. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, so you can shoot them, you can stab them, you can penetrate their skin, and they won't burst. How do I phrase this, guys? What do you want from me? Shut up.
However, you can just easily
you know what I mean.
Out, and that horse never saw anything. So in general, it gives you a chance to kind of play with the environment more to get AI, for example, the emulator.
This is going to go on for the whole duration of the event. Just saying.
Into this disadvantageous position.
Very
so
technical.
Benefit from it. So it might be a good surprise, like saying, like, if you find some water source around, maybe before you run through that boss layer, maybe just put them in, because a low troop mine obviously would also be less effective against you.
You're gonna main lose it.
It's a nice little element, and you can choose to ignore it, you can choose to use it. It's just part of the sandbox now, and I think it's like a nice, interesting layer.
Iron, what's up?
What's also very important is that you recover your health chunks.
Who wrote
like
this,
in terms of when they are partially burnt, not when they're completely lost, but like if you just had some fire damage, for example.
Add quote, wet emulators can be penetrated without bursting. That's right. That's what Crytek said this, by the way. For the record, this is on the screen right now. I didn't write this. I didn't make the rules. Right.
A lot faster with that. It's like the self-skin thing I mentioned in the beginning. So it might be a good strategy that after you burned yourself, that you just seek out some nice cold, like mountain stream, or like some nice water bottle, by the way.
Vane, welcome in.
And then be able to benefit from the faster recovery. And there's going to be some more synergetic things around that one, which we'll talk further down the line here.
And yeah, I mean, you did talk about fighting
extended
that
30 minutes.
water source. That
works perfectly, Jones, because I was going to watch this all the way through anyway.
We've been, like we were very carefully teasing it, right? It was not obvious, but we do have a brand new world item that's showable.
I have no idea.
Water bottle.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
No. So what it is that is what is the water bottle?
So the water bottle. It seems to be hyped out more than what it's worth, honestly. It's a nice little gimmicky thing alongside. That's basically what it comes down to. It's a new sandbox feature, so similar to the powder keg we introduced in the last update. The water bottle can be found in the world, and it basically gives you a chance to do counter effects to fire dynamically. You can use it on your burning teammate. You can maybe use it against.
You make your teammate wet.
The emulator. You can create paths when maybe there's some fire on the ground, etc., as you would normally do with choke bombs. The advantage of the fire bottle is that it doesn't create like a lasting choke cloud, so there's no coughing, etc. So it might also be something, maybe if you throw that at down teammate, and then right afterward, maybe your teammate also goes for the necro revive, that guy doesn't have to stand up necessarily, like choking his lungs out. So or coughing his lungs out. So in general, like it's a nice little subtle system added in the wider sandbox for you to utilize.
BRB, thank you for
experiment with on. Like, again, in most of the situations, you might not find a water bottle when you actually need it. In a similar way, you don't find a choke beetle tree when you need it, or other items might not be there. That's just life in the bayou.
Returning event compounds and stuff is something I've been wanting, Landy. It's a good idea for the future.
Yeah, and I think it's important to mention that you can either find like one little water bottle or even like some crates which has multiple.
Yeah, think of it like that. Like a crate of water bottles was basically the fire extinguisher of the time, right? Like, so
how does the wet effect work on Hellborn? It damages him for quite a bit. I'm actually going to be posting a short video on that either today or tomorrow, so stay tuned on YouTube Shorts, Instagram, TikTok for that.
It literally had like water cans prepared in case of fires, and they were even like with warning colors, etc. So as you would normally see with a fire extinguisher in today's times. So you can either find individual bottles, or you can.
What's the usage of chokes then? So that's a good question actually, because the chokes and the water bottles do kind of a lot of the same stuff, but the water bottles are found for free around the maps. You can find little boxes where there's a bunch of them spawning. You can sometimes find a single bottle. So if you're not bringing chokes, for example, or if you have a burning teammate, you might be able to conveniently find a water bottle nearby. Or if you ran out of chokes and you need more, or if you want to make your teammates wet, you know, all sorts of opportunities here. It's basically like a free alternative to chokes that you can find around the map. It's a bit more like immersive, interactive fun. Yeah, that's about it. They're not very different from chokes. So you can now choke the enemy, then make them wet. You can, yes, technically. And being wet doesn't make you cough. That's also true. Yeah, well, anyway.
Like a crate, a wooden crate.
Six
of them in there. Welcome. You can just bring them out from there. Important note is that you cannot hoard them. So for the moment, this is like the initial version that we wanted to go with. The moment you drop them, they shatter on the ground. The moment you've decided to pick one up, you need to make use of it in one way or another, because you can't just place it in a corner somewhere. So they're very opportunistic, very situational, but...
yeah, that's an important note here. You find them like quite a bit of places around the map, but once you pick it up, you have to throw it, and if you switch to something else, it'll drop to the ground, and suddenly you're wet, and there's nothing you can do about it. So it is what it is.
If you know where to find one, they can be quite the saver.
Resorted hello.
And of course, like it can put out most fires, but not the oil fires.
Yeah, be careful around oil. Like water and oil don't mix that well. Just as a small little warning.
Not too well, yeah. But what does it do to our cast of AI?
Yeah, so similar to like, I don't know, like finding a lantern and throwing that at someone, like obviously they do damage as well if you hit someone with it. So what you can do is with direct head hits, you can obviously dispatch that hive on the roof or kill some grunts, kill some hellhounds even. So you can also use it as a ranged weapon as an opportunity.
I didn't catch this part previously, but direct head kills grunts, hives, and hellhounds. So you can actually use water bottles to kill AI as well. That's interesting. And it will one-shot emulators if you directed them, and they will also damage Hellborn for quite a bit of damage as well. So it's pretty cool.
If you don't find like a throwing like a hammer or wood axe or whatever that you might like tossing on that roof against the hive. So it's just one more element in your toolbox to be using, and you can also do the melee attacks with it, and gives you like a chance to kind of dispatch.
Wet jokes are going to be the best part of this event. I agree.
Charging grunt,
it's going to be insane.
One strike, don't even need to worry about picking up a knife, and it damages.
Next update. Starch bottles to make your teammates hard. I can't with you guys. You shut your mouth right now. Shut your mouth.
The Hellborn, obviously, the Emulator can even get killed by
Great idea, by the way.
So maybe the differentiating thing here is that if you are only getting splash damage on the Emulator, you put it into wet state, right? So it still is debuffed, and it makes it easy for you to kill it. So if you just throw it right next to it as it runs at you, it might be already enough. However, if you hit it directly, that water isn't very healthy, so that guy goes down instantly and crumbles. And it's very painful. You almost pity them a little bit when that happens, but it looks and sounds really cool. So yeah, it's a situational alternative choice to choke bombs.
Yeah, that's what we talked about earlier.
If you're already run out of chokes, you might still get another chance of like extinguishing your teammate and like.
Already did a long time ago, man.
And obviously, bringing a pitcher, you might even benefit more from it.
All right, so why don't we just take a look at our water bottles in game as well?
It's the most exciting thing. Let's have a look at the water bottle.
I downloaded the update like an hour ago. There's
here, like,
we're waiting for the servers now. But I'm still gonna watch the whole thing here.
Like, yeah,
this will be uploaded to YouTube
I didn't like the water
a bit later.
Yeah, I like how he's like twitching on the ground. He really hates water. It's like almost like Kane. I expect Kane to have the same reaction.
Yeah, so here you can see, if you missed it, so you can see these little like spawn boxes for the water bottles, but you can also find single bottles like standing around sometimes.
You can see the crate here, so you can pick them up. And keep in mind, oil fires, like oil spills, dangerous place. You might not get the effect that
you throw the water bottles into fire, then it creates, if you're like an oil fire, then it creates a little explosion of fire, which is cool.
Deactivate
Although I wish that would be a little bit
like,
more intense.
Imagine coming across like a dock canal, and you just expect to be able to like shoot the lantern, get rid of them, or throw a knife or whatever if you want to be silent. And then someone has already been there, they deactivated lantern. Now you have to kill all the docks separately, or in general it makes it harder to kind of stop that. And maybe that's what they use to more easily.
So there you see that little like fireball when you throw it into an oil fire.
So as part of our
would be cool if that was a lot more violent, like a lot more like, you know, shooting sparks around or whatever. Like maybe not sparks, but like the fire like exploding and
yeah, unfortunately no more fried chicken.
Burning everywhere. The oil spill. I don't know.
So maybe they lay more eggs. But that was it.
Like I'm guessing like if you pour water into hot oil, it would just spill like just kind of like end up everywhere. I think it would be cool if that was more like it would actually reach further and maybe even damage you if you threw a water bottle into an oil fire. But yeah.
Water, but also why don't we look at some other gameplay changes we have in an update more general?
Firebomb does not count as an oil fire, to my knowledge. It's only the oil spills on the ground once ignited.
Into this one as well. So the feedback that we've observed and also had in our internal playtesting sessions is that both the recovery shot and the Relentless trade, they felt a bit too powerful mid-combat, right? You get the immediate effect of them restoring the bar, and the only thing you need is either just wait a moment for your regeneration shot to then do the work, or maybe do a quick top-up. But in any ways, you were basically back in the fight with full health very quickly.
That would be a nice addition to the game, though,
actually. Sandbox change around the charcoaling and the wet
liquid firebomb might count. I'm not sure about that.
Charcoaling a little bit faster. We changed those two to also start with a charcoaling effect. So you get your bar back, but that bar is mostly...
This is a significant nerf, by the way. So if you restore a bar with Relentless or a recovery shot now, you have 24 health charcoaled out. So you still have the bar, but it takes a while to get it back. You can counter this by getting wet. So either use a water bottle or get into deep water. It'll recover significantly faster. I covered this in my event update video, !event in the chat if you want to check it. But this is a big nerf to this. It's gonna make you a lot more vulnerable following a res with Relentless or using a recovery shot. So it's the normal recovery time for having a charred out bar, right? Like 24 health being charred out. It's quite slow, so it's gonna take you a little second to recover it, and you gotta be a little bit careful. But water is gonna be useful to make that recover much faster. So if you have nearby water, get in the water, and it's gonna be a lot better. Sparks is gonna enjoy this for sure. The Sparks is gonna be a great weapon for this change because people will be a one-shot for much longer than before.
Kind of charcoaled, and you need to wait your normal usual time for it to be fully healed up. The good thing is you can now use these other mechanics we talked about previously here to kind of speed up that process. Like, so quickly make a run for the river on the side there, and maybe you're back good within like 5 or 10 seconds. Or yeah, you find a water bottle. Just
so using the syringe with white stuff in it and being wet is better. That's basically the
down to the
TLDR. Yes.
The important piece, however, is that they are powerful, but they're less influential now mid of a fight. So that like it actually matters more if you've downed someone, and you get more reliable like those like direct downs again if they try to run away, etc. So it makes the fighting a little bit less random, because you might not know whether they had already the chance to put in the shot, or might have already had Relentless and never even lost the bar like to begin with, and then stood up with resilience in combination with 150 points right away. So yeah. That's the first point. Then we also added the interaction hints for all of the traits and event exclusive weapons. So this is something that you might remember a little bit from like the stuff from the last event, like roll cards. If you press the inspect, you kind of like see like the description pop up on the top right side.
Interaction hints for all traits and event exclusive weapons. You get a overlay showing what it does. Can be useful if you're new.
There is a small little hint now popping up directly there. So for someone new, for example, who doesn't know all the traits yet, you can instantly see what is this thing actually doing. Or like for new traits that you might find, like for example from an event, etc. It might make it a bit easier for you to learn what's new, etc. So this is like a bit of an onboarding.
Burn traits no longer stack. Only one instance of Relentless, Remedy, or Rampage, and they already did this for some traits in the past, so now it's like consistently across the board. Just one per burn trait. Phoenix, welcome in. Yes, I'm aware, Brian.
We also have one change. It's more of a quality of life change as well, but there's obviously a balancing part to that as well. And burnt traits can no longer stack. So this was a bit of a legacy piece we had from our first events, where we kind of had this idea of burnt traits, and we kind of ran with it, but now is the time to clean house and kind of do this properly. So we refactored them a little bit, and they can no longer stack. So you can only ever have one instance of the 3 Rs, like Relentless, Remedy, Rampage, all the other ones as well that could stack. You can only have one of them at a time. If it's used up, you can obviously try to get a new one, but you don't have like multiple instances anymore of those in there. And just makes the overview a bit nicer. And
Beetle spawns reverted, fantastic change. So basically, as you may remember, we used to have 2 beetle pods on the trees. First, we had only one, I think, which was like any beetle. Then they, based on feedback, changed it to being one which was a guaranteed choke beetle, and one that would be either a fire or a stalker beetle. And then for absolutely no reason, I don't really understand why, they took away the random beetle, the stalker or fire beetle with the last update, but they have now brought it back because people didn't like that change. So now we're once again going to see the 2 beetle pods, one with being a guaranteed choke and one being a stalker or fire. I'm very happy with that change.
And then lastly, there's something where we've mentioned this already in the last time when we did that change, that is a bit of an experiment. We're looking at it, and you guys have been very clear with your feedback on it as well, that you didn't like it. So we're walking that one back. The beetles are back for how they were operating before the last update. So you will still be able to find at the beetle trees 2 interactions, one with a guaranteed choke beetle, and the other one gives you randomly either a fire or a stalker beetle. So they're back to what they were before. You can find them more frequently and more reliably again in the world.
Yeah, so that was our general gameplay changes, but we do have some other changes in the update as well. So let's talk about the Reach Presence integration.
Yeah, this is a nice quality of life change as well. So if you're using Discord, if you're using Steam, you now can opt in for Rich Presence. So it kind of shows you like party information, like whether you're in the lobby and the mission, like who you play with, etc. So
kind of neat if you want to share your status to your friends. So you can also turn it off in the UI.
It just makes the OV a bit nicer. Maybe leads also to you.
I believe this is on by default, so you have to turn it off if you don't want to share, like if you're in the lobby or whatever.
And ask if you maybe can be their third. So I think it's a nice, really, really cool quality of life change. Nothing more to say about it. Yeah, use it.
Definitely, and of course, onboarding has been really important to us lately.
Yes,
so
yes.
we do have some changes in that regard as well.
So for new players, we try to keep on improving on that area as well. Make sure that like new players have an easy time of getting into the game. So one of the new components we've been adding is a reduced PvE pressure in the early ranks. So as you know, a new player, they have a trainee mode, which is the first 10 ranks, where, for example, they can't lose the hunters. This is also where they will not encounter any other human players. And will only have the bot matches. So during those early ranks, we also just in general like went and reduced the amount of monsters they come across. So we just kind of gradually build up, like maybe not having meatheads in the first match, maybe not having emulators or concertina armors in the first match, and then step by step introducing
So the question about the bot players, a while back they added hunter bots. They only apply until your bloodline rank is level 11. So if you're on a brand new account, up until you're level 11, you will run into hunter bots, which are just AI hunters. They're not very smart. They're pretty bad overall, but they can pack a punch sometimes. And then after that point, you get normal matches. So you're just basically being put in like non-player environment for a little while you're just getting used to the game for the first time. Shadow, thank you for the follow.
As you play your first couple of rounds, so it's not as
I believe it's level 11. But
we also
I could be wrong on
have a way to kind of explore new mechanics a little bit easier that way. And if you go to the next one, we have a companion piece to this one, which is the hunter bot difficulty that scales in a similar way as well, where we basically
so you get a really easy start.
Still
basically
want to be proud of your first kill, of course, so they're not going to be super cheap. But they're a bit more forgiving in the first 1 or 2 matches, so, and then they kind of build up and give you more of a challenge. So in general, like that scales up based on the levels that the player have. As they
Where did they say this?
And just makes the whole thing a bit easier to learn different combat beats, etc. In general,
yes,
however,
it's
the
essentially like a private server for you until you hit that level.
Bloodline rank 10. So only in onboarding.
Level 10, I said 11. So Bloodline rank 10, and then after that you get PvP matches with actual other players. So it's not going to be a lot of matches, like
because they're kind of
few matches should easily get you to that point.
A very good way for teaching you players in the same
even if you knew
the ropes.
All right, sounds great. So let's talk about some bug fixes that happened in this update, because we have over 100 in here.
Yeah, I think we picked
that
up
was a long list of bug fixes.
There's a number of over performance improvements and crash fix bugs have been fixed, and just quality of life as you would expect. But there's a few of them we want to single out just as a highlight for you guys of what we've been working on. So we fixed one issue where the game mode selection did reset after every match.
We have a comment here, which I think is referring to the stat trackers, because there has been some questions around that. Hi, thanks for bringing this up. Is this from Reddit, by the way? I think this is from Reddit. Someone mentioned that. Crytek had responded. Hi, thanks for bringing this up. This isn't accurate. All of these stat trackers will be active from the launch of Update 2.6. Purchasing them only gives you the ability to share that stat on your player profile. You'll still be able to privately view your own data here, even if you choose not to buy. I hope this helps. So the thing is, I actually reached out directly to them yesterday to confirm this, and they told me that it would only start tracking once you acquire the badge. This might have been a slight little misunderstanding. Maybe they meant that it only shows your progress once you activate the badge. So I'm not sure if that was a misunderstanding or if they have changed on that, but there seems to be a lot of confusion around that. Seems like there has been an official statement that it will track everything and will display once you get the badge, so let's hope that's correct. That would make the absolute most sense.
It was kind of annoying for those of you who
Balls, thank for the follow. Shannon, thank for Prime.
Bounty Clash, so, and then moving
between
modes maybe as you play, and always having to kind of reselect this one. So this one saves now the setting you have, and you just can continue. It's really just a quality of life change, but I think you guys were rightfully frustrated by that not working as intended. We also fixed visual issues around, for example, the cloth on some of the monsters that were kind of appearing black and like took you out of the immersion quite easily. So it was just like a visual glitch we introduced in 2.5. They were cleaning out now. And most importantly, we fixed the issues around dev cheat, where sometimes you were super happy to having found dev cheat and then it didn't
That cheat
work.
fixed, finally.
So now that part is it's been adjusted, the bugs have been fixed around it. So if you find dev cheat, you should have a very reliable experience again and can count on then having a second chance.
And of course, as Dennis mentioned, we only just highlighted a few here because we have over 100.
There was so many bug fixes, guys.
Check out our patch notes when they are live, where you can read
Is there a wet badge to track how many times you've been wet? There should be.
The important ones in the update. So please check that out. You can find a lot there. And with that, we are
I don't know,
at the
Vic,
end of the update itself.
I will be posting the patch notes on my event of the video once it's available.
So let's talk about, first of all, the Twitch Drops campaign. So the Twitch Drop campaign is coming on December 12th.
That's tomorrow.
Which is like one day after the launch of the event, and it will start at 3 p.m. UTC. So please transfer it to your local time, but it is the usual time when we always start our Twitch Drops campaigns, and it stops or ends on December 24th, so right before Christmas Eve in Europe. So yeah,
just for those in Europe where the 24th is obviously very important, just so in time that you don't get trouble with your family.
Yeah, exactly.
If
a little bit late in my opinion, but still.
Yeah.
I would much prefer it if it ended a little bit before Christmas Eve.
For this Twitch Drop, so it's basically a brand new format for us, where we included a support a streamer campaign for 2
very hyped for the support a streamer campaign.
This is the part where we want to give back to the community and all the streamers, all the partners that have been supporting us all along. So we do have 2 rewards that are tied to support a streamer campaign. We do have a hunt badge that you can unlock, and hunter that you unlock through this system as well. So how it
I believe there are
exactly
some
works is
red.
that
I don't
you
know
have
the
to
specifics though.
Subscribe
regarding
to
performance
a channel,
fixes.
Either
Refer
for
to the
1
patch
month,
notes when they're
multiple
available,
months, or even across multiple channels, and it will all count. I want to mention that Amazon Prime subscriptions don't work for this, so that's a important caveat. And this way you can give back to our amazing streamers and unlock some cool rewards. Please let us know how you feel about this. Of course, it's again a brand new thing for us, but I think it is very nice. And again, all these streamers have been supporting us for so long. It is a way for us to also give back to them.
A little important note here. First of all, super grateful for the support a streamer event. So basically the way it works is if you gift a sub or subscribe two times for like 2 months also works. Like if you pre-sub, as far as I understand. You will get the Hunt Showdown icon and the new hunter during the drops campaign. All this support goes directly to the streamers, so a lot of people are misunderstanding this as Crytek are being money hungry or trying to squeeze money out of people. This is exclusively an event or this part of it is exclusively to support streamers. That means Crytek makes absolutely zero money off this support a streamer campaign. If you are supporting a streamer to get your hunter, it's roughly the price of buying any other DLC. It's 2 subs. That money goes directly to the streamers that you support. So just keep that in mind. As far as I understand, it does not work for Twitch Prime, from what I've been told. But you can use a normal sub for multiple months, or you can also gift subs. You can split it across 2 different streamers if you'd like. So yeah, but I would see this as a way to support streamers that you enjoy watching. If you enjoy their content, this makes a big difference. Yeah, so it's a very, very appreciated thing for us full-time creators who do this for a living. It helps us out a lot to be able to do what we do. So yeah.
Other than that, we have 9 rewards that you can earn just by watching. So we will have a table in a second. It includes a lot of like random legendary rewards, random charms, even random hunters that you are used to. And with every unlock, you also get a supply crate unlocked as a secondary reward. So that means you will have basically 9
There's a lot of rewards here, even if you choose to not
so yeah, it's the fan
do the support the streamer thing.
The random hunters, etc. So let's take a look here at the little table we have, where you can see that you get the hunt crosses Twitch badge for the 1 sub.
The support streamer is not something forced, it's something that they've set up to support streamers.
And below that you can see that all the other rewards are tied to watch time. So in total, in the period of the Twitch drops, you have to watch for this long to unlock all these rewards, like random charms, random legendary skins. We also have
my full drops summary video is also linked in the chat if you want all the details and specifics in just 3 minutes. Check out link in the chat there.
And yeah, let's take a look at the hat taker, who is of course super cool.
So cool, love that guy.
Yeah, and currently you can unlock this through this support a partner campaign. It will never be sold within the game, but we may bring it back for future Twitch drops campaign as well. So this is not your last chance to unlock him, but it is a very good time to get him because he's really cool.
Yeah, I think like the partners and streamers, they really appreciate if you support them that way.
We will,
yeah,
for sure.
And we do have the random slate right skins. So yeah, there may have been some confusion about this. We currently have 3 variants of this that you can unlock through the Twitch drops, and you will get one random one out of those 3. We already had one in the Bloodborne store for a while, so of course you cannot get that through the Twitch drops, but in game. So we have a random one of this, and it's somewhat a similar story with the Death Caroler skins as well. You can unlock
Pretty
one
nice.
of the 2 randomly out of
Themed
this.
skins here.
And we do have a lot of information regarding our Twitch drops. If you go to huntshowdown.com/Twitch drops, we have a whole.
So you just to emphasize what he already said here, there's already one in the store for Bloodbonds. There are 3 more now, and you can get one random one for the Twitch drops. This also suggests that maybe the others will return the next time, kind of like how they've done with the hunters, returning over and over, so that you can over time acquire the ones that you didn't get already. That's how I understand this. It's like a new pool of different items that aren't hunters, basically.
FAQs section that exactly lists how these unlock works, how you get the hunters. It even breaks down which random skins you can unlock through this. So I know we always get the questions which hunters are returning. So of course, if you don't have some of the Twitch drops hunters yet, you can.
So there's one for the Ranger,
but also
or like one pull for the Ranger and one for the Crytek.
Is returning.
It's really cool. We have some of those now return as well. So if you missed out before, you can get them. And when it comes to those random like picks from those families, I think it's also about just like completing the set step by step, right? Like, so you might have an opportunity to get one of them now, and then maybe in the future you also have the chance to get the remaining one. So think of it as like kind of building up that set.
Yeah, exactly. As I mentioned with the Head Taker as well, they may return in future Twitch drops campaigns as well. So don't worry, you are not forever missing out on something. It's just something we're experimenting with, and I think it is a really cool campaign. And again, I really look forward to your feedback regarding this. But that's not the only thing that's new. We have a big release actually today. It already happened. So our in-house band, Port Surfer Band's 4th album called Shadow's Wake is out today digitally. So you can already go on your favorite streaming platforms and listen to it. And it's quite amazing. I believe in the intro segment we had for the stream, we already seen some people dancing in the chat along to the new event song. So it is out now.
Always amazing music by Port Sulphur Band, by the way.
And yeah, as I mentioned, you can find it on all your favorite streaming platforms. But as an addition, we have a vinyl releasing on December 12th, which you can buy from multiple sources, depending on where you are or which one you prefer. So I think this is really cool.
This Friday.
Yeah, exactly. And Port Sulphur Band is everyone's favorite. I was coming in the Port Sulphur Band shirt today as well, so we are really proud of it. And please listen to it and stream it. And here you can actually
looks amazing. The artwork is really good as well.
Cool as ever.
Yeah, and also sounding awesome as ours.
As always. Yeah, I also had some small reminders for everyone in chat. First of all, I hope you already marked your calendar in the beginning of the stream, but on December 19th, we do have Post Malone streaming the game with some surprise guests.
During Twitch drops.
During Twitch drops, very important. So you can actually get the Twitch drops as well, and it is gonna be amazing, and we are actually super excited. I cannot wait to tell you more about it, but for now, this is all I can say, but keep an eye on our socials for all the information regarding this. Another thing is that our behind the scenes video released today. So I hope you can see some links in the chat soon.
Can highly recommend watching the behind the scenes vid, by the way. It's really cool. So check that out on the official Hunt Showdown YouTube channel if you missed it. It's about 20 minutes long, but it gives you a lot of cool insights into everything around the event, and yeah, it's pretty awesome. Check it out.
About this, please watch this. It's behind the scenes for
it's really cool. Like, we interviewed lots of people like from the team, kind of they shared about like their experience working on the new Murder Circus Encore and all the love that they poured into this.
That would be pretty sick, Rolf. But
very awesome for the team also to have
unfortunately not
have a voice in this.
Exactly. And before we jump into our Q&A segment, I also wanted to mention again the Hunt profile hashtag. When you are playing the event from tomorrow on, please, if you have a cool profile you want to share, please use the hashtag Hunt profile on socials and win some cool rewards in the event. And last but not least in this segment is after this stream and the Q&A segment is over, we will have some of our partners playing the new event already.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that happened yesterday.
Early access,
but you can still check the VOD on Twitch if you're interested in that.
So right after we're done here, you can tune in with your favorites and see the Murder Circus Encore live. Already get a teaser, get hyped up for the release tomorrow, and enjoy how they get murdered by Ursa Mortis.
Yeah, and now before we jump into the Q&A segment, I think Dennis had some small
we talked about like the battle pass rewards earlier. We talked about different cosmetics.
Drop store tomorrow.
Some of the
animations drops for all info.
There's also like one animation. Just quickly want to highlight. It's not part of the battle pass. You can just buy that for some blood bonds. But we wanted to show you that one as a nice goodbye.
So let's see.
This one is freaking amazing, guys. I believe it was 300 blood bonds.
So maybe sometimes you just want to warm yourself a little bit. Nice.
Loving this animation. It's absolutely fantastic.
Awesome.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, but of course we still have a Q&A segment. Our lovely moderators and community managers have been collecting the questions for us.
Yes.
So Dennis, I already have a lot here, so let me ask you.
Just throw them in.
Are water bottles only in the circus compound?
No, the water bottles are their new feature that is to be found all across the map. So obviously
it's a little toxic, but I also love it.
But you will find them just as
the drop start tomorrow,
like the powder kegs. Yeah. So it might be very useful for you, like if you're expecting a fighter. So just memorize a little bit where you might have seen a bottle or even a crate of them, because they might come in quite handy.
Okay, so a question about the player profiles. So what do they add for players exactly? Like what it is again? Can we recap?
All right, so the player profile customization is a way for you to express yourself in the game. Like, so you get a player card in a way that can kind of be used to show like what defines you as a hunter. So you can pick a background, you can pick certain badges that are important for you, like for example the progress you've made with a particular weapon or playstyle.
Like the bow.
You have titles in there, and they kind of use that to kind of show off like who are you as a hunt player, which is super useful obviously for kind of encountering that as you match with random teammates or with your friends. You kind of see them as you load in a mission as well, and you can also like blend them in, for example, when you're on the death screen, to kind of see like who was that guy actually, and is he actually usually that good? Oh yeah, well he has like level 10 on the sniper.
Are there red badges? I think there was one called the Ugly Hunter or something. I'm not sure what it's specifically referring to.
And customize the different aspects of the game to really show off who you are.
Yeah, I guess you already answered a bit of the next question, which was like, how do you exactly unlock these?
So yeah, most of them are progress gated. So you need to do stuff in the vault in the game, and then you get these rewards and these stats. However, some of those are also maybe tied into certain story challenges or events, battle passes. Some of them are just cosmetic.
We're still going to keep the stat tracker poster on my stream because it also tracks the daily and everything else. So we have like our old custom daily and weekly goals as well with the integrated Nightbot commands and everything.
So
we'll keep that. But now we can keep an overview.
What are the ways to get the wet status effect right now?
Okay, yeah. So the wet status effect can be achieved in 3 ways. So either you can find a water bottle and you throw it to your feet or your friend or whoever else that you want to get doused with that.
I'm glad that he used whoever else you want to get doused with that. That was not the time to use the word wet.
Or you stand in the heavy rain, or you go into deep water. So like when the water splashes up really loud, like as you can afford through a river, for example, not just from
exactly.
The shoreline,
Thank you for the prime. Appreciate it.
Further in. So whenever any of those 3 things happens, that status effect is given to you, and it lasts for 15 seconds. The moment you're no longer exposed to that. So obviously, if you keep on staying in the rain, you continue to being wet. Surprise. And then you have these 15 seconds where during that time, your footsteps are kind of soaky a little bit, like so you might be hurt a little bit easier. But also it has benefits to you. For example, you kind of heal your burnt charcoals bars back a little bit easier, like unless they're obviously completely lost, that doesn't restore that. You need a recovery shot for this or a banish. And also prevents you from losing, for example, a bar from a direct hit from a flare pistol or alert trip mines, etc. So it just reduces it, as would be the case if you have the stealth skin trait.
So back to the profile customization, kind of. What stats carry over and what don't?
Hey, Jumper.
Exactly.
I don't have the full list right now, but for example, like something like Prestige, some of the older stats we have, or I think even Monster Skill, etc., they're carrying over. But all of the
has to be a water bottle,
have for specific weapons, for example, they kind of start from have like a fresh start from zero, which kind of levels the playing field a little bit as well. So everybody starts at the same time. So it would be interesting, for example, if you after this one watch some of the streamers play, they obviously probably have very low stats in there, so you can kind of see how they progress over the next hours with some of their badges as they play.
I guess the next question came.
Will emulators die in heavy rain? I assume they will all be wet and then just weakened by that. It doesn't actually kill them, it just makes them weakened during heavy rain. But yes, that means you can penetrate them with sharp weapons
some people
without having them burst.
What's different about
as we covered earlier?
So the shredder has been revisioned a little bit, like, and reinvented. So this made a better word. Before it was very spammy.
I said what I said.
It was very overpowered, at least perceived overpowered by many. It was very, very much like hard to kind of counter with the proximity frag blades that kind of blow up right next to you or around corners. The homing was problematic, like, so you can kind of like shoot it around the corner, would kind of curve in onto the hunter because of the edge runes on it. So everything was very easy to do damage with. It was a very powerful weapon. We wanted to reduce some of that, take away some of that spam, take away some of that frustration, still make it a bit more of a skill-based weapon. It's still very powerful, like those saw blades, they cut right through again. However, in a more balanced way and easier to counter. So as you would expect, an important piece is also that the Shredder is going to stay. It is a world scarce weapon.
Glad you like the new badge, Tommy. A little side note, guys, if you, for those who missed it, we do have some updated sub badges now here on Twitch. So yeah, you may notice some changes. They are now looking cooler than ever, and especially the tier 2s and 3s are going to look a lot nicer than before.
And maybe there will not be Shredder sources for some time. Maybe then they come back again. This is the interesting part about the scarce elements in general. Like, you don't know when you get the next one, so you want to be careful when you want to use them. Obviously, during the Murder Circus Encore event, you can reliably get shredders from the circus. So at the moment, be happy and use as many as you want. But after the event has ended, maybe there's going to be a bit of a shredder drought for a moment, until at one point we introduce them again, and then you can get more instances. So it's very interesting for us as a new way to experiment with very powerful weapons, but also weapons that you might not always have access to.
Tied to the circus, is the fortune teller machine and the balloons returning?
Yes, both of them are there. So the balloons basically give you an event point whenever you pop them. You find them.
The event starts today, the drops start tomorrow.
Quite a bunch of them directly at the
service should be on in not
shooting
long.
Gallery.
Myra, thank you for Prime. Appreciate
like
it.
You can always like jump against the wall there and try to pop them all in a quick sequence and pretend you're an aftermath.
Another side note, I have a full event video covering everything about the event in just 12 minutes, found on my YouTube channel, and also another video covering everything about the Twitch drops in just 3 minutes. So if you are missing out on anything, you can get fully caught up with everything in just 15 minutes total. Check out the links in the chat or find them on my YouTube channel.
Get those, I think it's 15 or 10 points or so, that how many balloons there are. That way, it's a nice way for you to kind of top up your event points and maybe get across the 25 threshold for the next pledge mark. So yeah, that stuff is all back.
Glad you liked the video, Plus, thank you.
Is this the final version of the player profile customization, or are we adding more stuff in the future?
I mean, this is the start of the player profile customization, so this is a new feature for us.
Lots of opportunity
like
for this to be
already now
expanded
launch,
on in the future.
As I mentioned before, like, we might not, for example, have a background image like an avatar for every single legendary hunter out there. But the plan is to obviously have that online, so we're going to add more and more and more.
It's been a couple of years now. I think there was a gift from
different frames, different titles,
from one of our longtime viewers. Redundant sent me this knuckle knife in the background.
Gameplay beats, you might be able to kind of get a badge
3D
to
printed.
show you
Pretty
how
cool.
you interacted with that. So it's a growing, ongoing thing, and this is just the start of the player profile customization.
That's awesome. Yeah, of course, some questions about Twitch drops. So is it behind a paywall now? So first of all, we wanted to try out new things and like try a new system. And as I mentioned, we wanted to give back something to our community and to our streamers that have been supporting us for so many years now, 7. So this is something new we tried out. But of course, we wanted to make sure to also make it accessible to everyone that may not be interested in that. So you can still earn 9 rewards plus all the supply crates along. So.
Something to note on this, by the way, because there has been, you know, I've been a Crytek partner for quite a while now, and a lot of people are mistaking being a Crytek partner as you're being paid by Crytek to do or say specific things, or you're being paid by Crytek to do this and that. As a Crytek partner, we actually don't make a lot of money in any sort of way. This is probably the biggest thing that they have ever done for Crytek partners to support us financially. So keep that in mind. Aside from our partner codes, which we make a little bit of revenue share when you guys use our codes to purchase your DLCs and stuff using the store, we don't actually make any money from being Crytek partners at all. So this is the first time that Crytek is going out of the way to add something that will financially benefit their partners who support the game. So this is a pretty big W for any full-time creator, especially who relies on their income to be able to do this consistently over time. So yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Think of it like two different systems. We have the Twitch drop, which is like, hey, you just watch your favorite streamer and you unlock the cool things that we have, and nine of those exclusive rewards plus the supply crates.
The partner codes are currently not giving a discount. They just support the streamers. I'm hoping they will bring back the discount though, but it is a link. You can find it on my Twitch profile, on Discord, on my website.
So we've seen in the chat that a lot of people already had ideas for a player stats or...
Yeah, so just to clear up any confusion, every Crytek partner has a code. It used to be a discount. They took away that discount with the new store. I don't really know why. I didn't really particularly appreciate that part. Hoping they will bring back the discount part of it. But basically what it means is if you use any of our codes when you go to purchase your DLCs or the base game or anything from the Crytek store, we do make some revenue share from your purchases. So if you are going to buy it anyway and you want to support a specific streamer, that could be myself, could be another Crytek partner, use their code and then you support their channels directly by using that code before you make your purchase.
Strategies and avatars. Please let us
know.
We always listen to your feedback and
Crytek should give you a direct link to
just,
that.
Send it to us on Discord. We usually have an ideas room in there. You can even just comment on social media, you know, make a Reddit post. We are actively monitoring these and we are interested in what you also want to see. And there was another question about the player profile. So the skill-based unlock that are tied to skills, can these be purchased?
No. So skill-based unlocks are skill-based unlocks. So you need to play with a certain weapon. It's in the same for example, weapon variants, right?
When
like,
Rexnor hunting bow skin would be cool. Would be cool. No mention of that so far.
If you want to
maybe one day
stat track something, then you need to do the work. Like so, you can't buy like I am doing like a 300-meter headshot. The stat itself, some of them you might want to purchase, but not the weapon ones. However, the tracking is completely based on your skill.
So we recap the Shredder. So we also seen
what was the question, plus?
About the Ursa Mortis and what exactly is new. So could you just recap that for us? Yeah.
I mean, so Ursa Mortis is the two-headed bear monstrosity. This the monstrous
scale. Thank you for follow.
Circus act that
Anonymous
has gone wild there.
Thank you for the follow.
What has changed primarily is like a little bit of a boost on its general the toughness and the strength, so it does a bit more damage.
Let's keep the questions to the actual dev stream right now because this is going on YouTube and we can answer those unrelated questions later.
Before, like how you use bear traps or things, maybe don't
feel free to ask me after.
Anymore. For example, you can't knock back Ursa Mortis now from explosives.
Trying to focus on the topics that are being discussed on the being discussed on the dev stream right now.
So what that does is not only creates a challenge for how to fight it, because you might not be able to escape as quickly around it and just like circle around. It might just cut through right the fence there to get you still. It also means that it's a lasting effect. So whatever.
Oh, good. This should be done soon, and then we can cover anything unrelated
depending
after.
on how much of a rampage you allowed Ursa Mortis
More than happy to answer once this is over.
It affects and reshapes the circus compound and how many entrances and exits are available for teams or for yourself to fight around.
And the last two questions that I have collected here. First of all, what is the High Striker booth again, and what do you get from doing it?
So the High Striker is a new circus attraction. I mean, as you might have remembered, like we had a few circus attractions before. We had the fortune teller machine that gives you some of the random rewards, like there can be a trade, can be a good status effect. We also had these other booths where you, for example, you could pop the balloons with the shooting range, etc., and just get event points from the balloons. The High Striker is a new one, which is a test of strength.
Loving the High Striker. It's a cool addition.
You might see that from any circus attraction or any time you've been at a local affair. You smash on it, the melee damage does damage based on the damage it does.
The melee damage does damage based on the damage it does. Got it.
Escalates like the puck upwards, and the stronger you are, the more of an effect it has, and also the higher the payout you get. So there's a budget of 40 event points you can get if you maximize it, if you ring the bell at the very top. And every time you try it, like it only ever tries to beat the last high score. So if you've already done, let's say, a rifle buttstock attack against a heavy one, well, you've collected maybe a fraction of those 40 points, let's say 5 or 6 points. I don't know the exact number right now, top of my head. And if you do it again, it will tell you, oh, you have not beat your high score. But if you then find a different, maybe a stronger weapon, maybe you find a bear trap and try to melee damage with a bear trap against it, maybe you get a couple more points because it escalates a little bit higher up.
Yeah, so it's your high score that matters for the round. You can find those around the map.
Combine it with trades, with certain weapons, etc. Maybe to get a maximum of the effect out of it. However, if there are multiple high strikers in the mission, it only ever tracks one high score. So it doesn't matter where you beat your high score, but you cannot have multiple ones at the same time. So if you already max it out at the circus and you find another one that maybe at a supply point randomly, well, you've already got the maximum out of it this round.
Yeah, and the last question was again about the shredder and the explosive bolts. Yeah. We touched on it a bit.
You need to extract to keep them. What are you talking about? The pledge marks or?
The shredder can no longer swap between different ammo types.
Your hunter is lost, then your hunter is lost, including any marks or event points on that.
For those who don't know, like there was a second ammo type. There was a proximity explosion.
Actually, I'm not sure when it comes to event points if those might still be counting, like all the points you earn even if you die. The pledge marks are lost if your hunter dies, though. I'm not 100% on the event points tracking towards your battle pass or whatever. I think they still do, actually, even if you die, but don't quote me on it.
So you only need to be close to a hunter for it to already burst, and you get like this air burst effects from it. It was really, really powerful, and some people rightfully said like this is really, really frustrating to fight. So we removed them completely. The shredder is just about the saw blades now.
Yeah, I think so, Kurt. I think the event points still stay, but the pledge marks are lost if you die.
Enough because they are very, very lethal.
So Dennis, I think with that, we arrived to the end of the stream.
Hey, Talon.
Just to remind everyone, after the stream, check out our partners that are jumping into everything we've just talked about.
Yes.
So that's going to be
early access.
Hell yeah. And we want to wish you all very happy holidays if we don't see each other this year. And hope you're going to enjoy the event from tomorrow.
Yeah, this will be fun. And then Twitch drops from Friday.
From Friday, exactly.
That'd be great.
So again, thank you everyone. Thank you, Dennis. It was a lot of fun. Thank you for everyone helping us set up the stream as well. Shout out to Jeremy, Jonas for audio. You guys did a great work. And with that, we wish you very happy holidays.
Yeah.
And see you soon.
See you in the circus and see you in the bayou. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. Let's go. And that is everything for the dev stream, everything that's coming. Like I said, I do have a full event video on YouTube now, covering everything in just 12 minutes, and a full video covering everything about the drops in just 3 minutes. So if you want to catch up on that, make sure you check those out. Thank you for watching.